Nomad at night, starring the one and only Nomad.
Yo, Super Nomaniacs. What's good? Welcome to Super Nomaniac Lounge. I'm your host, Nomad. And to my left on the screen is my guy, Kedz and Trip. We are waiting for my guy, Trips, who will be here shortly. I just texted him. He texted me back. He's on his way. And Sports Chicago Style will be here with him. With that being said, and I just heard him pop into the screen.
Speak of the devil.
I'll wait until he gives me the thumbs up, or if you see him before me, we'll put him on the screen. But yeah, Trips just popped up. Was that a thumbs up? Was that a thumbs up, Trips? All right, let me pop him in.
There goes the.
There he is.
What's happening?
Hey, what's good, man? Good to see you. Hey, man. Listen, let me start this one off by saying thank you to the the Super Nomaniacs who became members of the show, and we just began doing this content. What we're doing basically is I hate being cookie cutter when it comes to members only content. It's mostly people who want to who want to act like the experts with the all 22 and sit there all day with the thumbs on a damn remote and tell you what is and what isn't. Man, that shit's boring to me. I think this opportunity right here is for us, and I mean us on the show. I mean me, Trips, Kid, and you guys in the chat. It's for us to get to know each other better. It's for us to get to see different facets of each other. We get to entertain each other. We get to see what our interests are, all that kind of stuff, and talk about some Chicago Bears. And we'll do that right away. But I do like this format. I think it fits who all three of us are as individuals. You get to see what kind of dexterity we have as people. And you get to, in the chat, you Super Nomaniacs get to let us know, what tickles your heartstrings and whether it's funny, whether it's not funny. It's going to get real up in here, man, and it's going to be fun doing it. And so I just want to say thank you once again and welcome into the show. We're gonna talk about some Bears right away, but before I do that, let me pass it on to the Canuck for some pleasantries before we start going.
Hey, yo, what's going down? Good to have you guys with us. Always great to be with the Super Nomaniacs. Always great to be with my guy Triple R. What's popping, my brother? What's popping there? King of Pop, aka Nomad. Hey man, let me give a little bit of love to those who are giving us love out there, the Super Nomaniacs that are rolling with us today. We got Mofugra. What's popping, Mofugra? It's Crimson. Yadig is with us. The Plankster holding it down as per usual. What's going on, guys? What's popping, guys? Dan Brown's with us too. COVID sucks, man. Whoa. Yeah, COVID ain't fun. It's funny. I was actually just talking about that today because COVID is just one of them things that if you get it, you've had it. For a while there, I was like, I think I might have had COVID. Maybe I had COVID. No, I didn't have COVID. When I got COVID, I knew I had COVID, man. For sure. It feels like that doesn't feel like a normal. It doesn't feel normal. Like I've been sick. I've had a cold and stuff. COVID didn't feel like that. Anyways, enough about COVID. I'm sorry, brother Dan. Hopefully you're feeling better, bro. Hopefully you're on the up and up, man. Stay good, Dan. Triple R.
What up, Nomad? What up, kids? Speaking of COVID, today is Wednesday, right? I always get those days of the week messed up. But yeah, I got a booster in the morning. Go get my COVID booster. And all you non-vaccine people, stay the hell away from me. But glad to be with you, Nomaniacs. Hope all is good and hope everybody's ready to watch our team kick ass on Sunday against the Rams. Oh Lord. But yeah, let's go.
All right. All right, man. Listen, man. What's funny about this whole thing about COVID is I'm not. It's not funny. It's the fact that I haven't had it yet. My mother just had it for the second time, and she had a birthday party for my grandmother who was in her late 80s, and she did it with her senior community, and I was invited, and she knows how I am about that kind of thing, and my grandmother and my mother. And I was invited. They was expecting me not to come. So I showed up. Me and my girlfriend popped up down there, and her smile was just big as the damn moon, man. And I walked in there and she was just like, I didn't think you was gonna come. Because my mother, I mean, when I say just recently, last week I just sent her some echinacea to get over the COVID bug. And the truth is, it was kicking her ass. It was kicking her motherfucking ass. And she was just like, man, you know what? I gotta stop taking this shit so, unserious, man, because I ain't no spring chicken no more. I'm like, hey, Mom, I'm trying to tell you, you got to take care of yourself out there when you're around people. It's that time of the year, you just don't know. And so anyway, I go down there. We didn't have time to do nothing but grab something to eat and really get out of there and give people, hugs and walk out. But it was nice. It's nice to know that you still have your grandma and she's still amongst above ground. And it's nice, man, and I'm knocking on wood right now and being grateful because I still got my grandma and my mom. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to put that out there, man. It's this trying to be macho out here with this COVID thing. And I think most people turn it into something political, which to me, it doesn't belong. I think it's just a safety thing. It's just I care about the people around me thing, and that's it. And I care about myself, and that's it. And you just leave it there, and you do the right thing. That's it. But with that being said, let's talk about some Chicago Bears because Trips, you ain't been in on the conversation. I know you're doing your own thing on your own channel with the Bears conversation, but it's starting to be. Before we start getting into flus and polls, let's talk about what you think about this game moving forward, Trips. Are you like a lot of people that see this game as some kind of basically a walkthrough, just because the Rams are a little nicked up and
it don't matter if it's backups or second string guys or whoever. All these guys are professionals and they have pride, and that team, they seem to be coached up pretty good. So there is no easy game. Any given Sunday or Monday or Thursday or Friday or Saturday, a pro team can beat another pro team. It's just taking advantage of the situation that's presenting itself. Meaning, I saw that Roshan Johnson's supposed to get a decent look this week, and it's like, oh, really? Okay. And it's like, all right, well, is Swift not performing, or do they not know their personnel? They're still trying to figure this out 4 games into the season. What are we doing on offense? And particularly on offense, I like to have Waldron at least draw up some plays in practice, run them ad nauseum until the offense can do it perfectly every time. And it's like, at least we know we can do this play perfectly. Because right now it's just a lot of, let's throw this play out there, see what happens. Let's throw this play out there, see what happens. And there's no identity. And something that Ryan Poles stated, long time ago, that I just watched Podfather's video about offensive linemen that he put out about Ryan Poles, was that he stated in order to have a dynamic offense, you need a good offensive line. You got to be able to run the ball, not just for the sake of running the ball, but telling the defense, hey, suck up those safeties, giving the opportunity for the quarterback to, do play action, do different things because you're running the ball. Just making the rookie quarterback go out there and throw it 52 times, is not a successful way to game plan. And it's like, yeah, cool, he threw for 300 yards, but we still lost. And it's like over 300 yards. Shouldn't we have over 21 points? You know, something is amiss with all these numbers. And it's just, we need to come out and show that this is a team who has some kind of focus, some kind of guidance going forward. And all that starts at the top with coaching and the cohesion of the units, make sure communication's there to put the players in the best position to succeed. Because right now they're just hanging them out to dry, and then Flus is going, yeah, we need to execute better. It's like, well, why don't y'all coach them up better? You know, it's like, what is all this finger pointing? And so it's a very frustrating thing on many different levels, mostly offensively and front office, you know, but like I was saying before, you know, this Rams defense, you know, should be, you know, the 300-pound, you know, chick slump buster. So, you know, let's hope they knock it out.
Well, I don't. All I know is we're going up against Sean McVay, and you know, I know you kind of didn't want to do the touch the coach piece to all this, but Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay. You know, yeah, Puka Nakua's out of the. You know, he might not be in play, and maybe Cooper Kupp's hurt too. I'm worried about my guy fumbling stuff like timeouts right now. You know, I think that's
conversions, challenges.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we're talking about Sean McVay. He's like he's a walking football encyclopedia. Like he really is. And yeah, but you know, offensive line troubles.
Okay. Yeah, I got it for both of you guys, man. Any one of y'all can. We don't have to have a particular order here. Just respond with what you think. And this is me watching all 22, me knowing what was going to happen, experiencing, you know, installs and, you know, what comes with all that shit, new quarterback and all that. I'm going to say 2 words: exploratory phase. Tell me what that means to you.
That means something that you figure out in the preseason. You know, the game's alive now. These count. I mean, what are we doing?
Well, here's the thing, though. So we're going to take a week off. We'll let everybody take a week off in the preseason. We're not going to play you this week in the preseason. And then you come out flat. And now you're talking about exploratory.
All right. Yeah, let me get a chance to explain myself. I just threw that out there so that
you did. You threw it, and I kind of boomeranged it.
And y'all on par. I know you fellas, man. I know how y'all think. Listen, installing. Not only with I had to see this, man. I had to see this to even understand it. I think if I had gone to a college that had coaches that were established and they were running a system before I got there, I'd probably have a different take on it because I didn't play in the NFL. I just played in college. But I walked into a situation where the offense and the coordinators were new. The quarterback was new. And I take that back. The starting quarterback that we ended up rolling with was a holdover from the old administration. So the guys that were there in my college were gone. They got ran out of there, and on came my coaches. And I'll have to watch the hiccups, man. And that shit went into the regular season. Because it was all about trying to find out what works, what doesn't work. Can we run this? Can we run that? This probably need to get taken out of the playbook. This doesn't look good at all with this quarterback and the pieces that we have. That kind of thing. That's what I mean by exploratory phase. And to Tripp's point, you would think all of that shit happens during the preseason and training camp, right? But the truth is, with the way the league is set up now, and the way to Kedz's point, and the way they played this in the preseason, they missed some opportunities. You know, they really missed some opportunities to get some reps in and to find out exactly what we have and what works and what doesn't. Getting this quarterback a few more reps, even though he would have been playing against guys that would have been trying to fight for a second team job. Basically, that's what the preseason is. Guys that are trying to fight for backup roles. It would have been a look at an little bit downgraded speed of the NFL, but it would have helped them a little bit. And I think they basically were rolling like they were riding on eggs, man, and they didn't want to crack anything, and they played it the wrong way. And Caleb suffered at the beginning of the season. And I think where we are now, just looking at it from a distance, I'm starting to see a little bit of symmetry as far as him understanding, him getting the speed of the game down, and just really having a grasp of what they're trying to do out there and getting the ball out on time. And that's really where you want to be at this point in the season. And it started to look semi-good sometimes. Didn't look good all the time, but it started to look semi-decent, man. He sprayed the ball around pretty good. Deep shot was off like a motherfucker, but he hit a couple of them that kind of made up for it. But exploratory phase, what do I mean? They're trying to figure out what works with this player, with that player, the other player, and on down the line, and they're finding out. So it's at the find out phase of the exploratory phase. And I think they're learning what they can and can't do with certain guys. I believe that's where we're at. I'll listen to you guys.
Well, shit, I think, it's find out because in the preseason, Flus was fucking around. And so now we finding out. When he came out at the end of training camp and said, he was heated and was like, it was basically because Nate Davis wasn't playing or wasn't practicing.
Well done, Triple R. I applaud that one. That was beautiful.
That was smooth, right? That was smooth. But it's like, all right, if he's not playing or he's not ready, why is his ass on the field? I mean, if you're not practicing, because you practice the way you play is the expression. He's not practicing, so why is he playing? And what kind of message is that sending to the rest of the team? It's like, man, this dude ain't even got to practice. He's out here, in the game, fucking everything up. But he's still being run out there. And it's like, well, they were trying to replace him with Bates at the time. And it's like, well, you've gotten to this point. SEMO has yet to develop any offensive lineman. And then at the very last cut, we get rid of Jatiri Carter and keep Davis. It's like, we're not in a cap situation. Sure, it would suck to have to eat whatever $10 million or whatever's left on Davis's salary, but he's not producing. He just looks lost, and he's not a rookie. So he should know how to be a professional, and that's just not happening. And then as far as figuring out who can do what was Waldron doing the whole preseason? And do they not have player bios? It's like, all right, Swift, he's a outside, gap runner, get him some space, he can go. Roshan Johnson is more built than Herbert, so maybe he should be our short yardage guy. You don't have to put Herbert out there in short yardage and be like, yeah, that didn't work. Well, why don't you know this? Because Waldron is not a new offensive coordinator in the league. He's had 3 years of experience calling pro plays. Granted, he doesn't know all the ins and outs of the personnel on this team, but he should have some offensive concepts that make it easier for the offense to succeed instead of saying, all right, I know my O-line can't block worth shit, so let me call these deep route concepts, for the rookie quarterback to try and figure out while we get the hell blitzed out of us. And it's like, sure, it's new, but then you can't help but look around the league and it's like, well, there are other new coordinators with new systems and a rookie quarterback, and they look professional, at least. It may be very basic, but that's all you need. And if we're trying to develop Williams, it's like, all right, I get it. We want him to be able to run the pro-style offense from under center and be able to read this and read that. But for right now, with the O-line that they have and what he's presented with, line him up 5 wide and just let the receivers do their thing. And he can find the receivers because that's what he's used to, from his college days. that cuts down on the defense being able to blitz. You know, it helps the O-line, it helps your rookie quarterback. And I don't want to put it all on Keenan Allen, who's had an injury history. He's older now, and he has yet to really produce anything for this team. But if he is like, well, Keenan Allen's back, so it's all good. He can work those short routes. It's like, well, really? So, yeah. And so it's just frustrating because it's like, well, we see that there's a talent thing or mental thing on the O-line. We see that in the years Simo's been here, he's developed no one on the offensive line. And then we see the play calling, and it's like, well, I have no idea what personnel I have. I have no idea the cohesion of the running and the passing and how to make it a more balanced game for our rookie quarterback. And then Ryan Poles, former offensive line, and his assistant, Ian Cunningham, former offensive lineman, and the offensive line fucking sucks. And it's like something is not connecting in the upper echelon of Hallis Hall, and that's leaking down into the locker room. And of course, fans are going to be pissed because we lose. You know, winning cures all, as they say. You know, you lose, it's like, all right, well, who's to blame? It's time to point some fingers.
If I don't interrupt Trips right now, he gonna tell the whole goddamn show because he basically just took my whole notepad and just like, you motherfucker, I'm just gonna tell everything right now.
I mean, it's just so frustrating because this was supposed to be, you know, the best situation that a number one draft pick quarterback is coming into, and it's like we look like shit on offense, and it's not growing pains; it's just discombobulation.
Yeah, you know what, man? Before we go any further, let me send a super no maniac shout out because what you gonna do when these
Jose
Goncalves, man. Welcome to the channel, man. Thank you for becoming a member. We appreciate you, man. Super shout out to you. And thank you all for everybody that welcome in, just like No Maniacs do. Welcome into the family, man. But yeah, Trips just gutted me, man, and watch my entrails come out and everything. I just had to listen to it. But listen, man, the truth is we talking about, you know, what's right, what's wrong. Let's just focus on this game ahead and who we have to face. But we're going to get into, trust me, when I tell you, we're going to get into what's right, what's wrong, you know, what we should have been doing and what ain't going right. All that kind of stuff. We're going there, Trips. I promise.
Right on. Yeah, it's just when my mind opens, it's like, well, what's the problem? It's like, well, there's multiple issues going on with the offense.
Yeah, hell yeah. We're gonna dissect it. We're gonna dissect it because what I think is going on, and it seems like a lot of people in the fan base are. I'm looking at podcasts. I'm looking at different stuff that's going on out here in social media. It seems like, kids, I'm gonna pass it to you because I gotta go pay the water bill. But it seems like people are trying to overlook this game, man. They're trying to overlook this game and forgetting who the fuck Matthew Stafford is, and it kind of worries me.
Well, that's what I was saying. This is not a walk in the park. This is not a walk through by any stretch of the imagination. You gotta remember these guys went to the Super Bowl a little while ago, right? Like they did, right? So be a little bit respectful of who we're talking about. I think the Rams have as good a chance as anybody to defeat an injured Bears team. So, you know, keep your eyes peeled. I also think that the addition of Keenan Allen is going to go a lot further than others might think. And I hope that works out well. So that it always just leads us back to that offensive line and how it got, like, how did it get that way? Is this all just injury? You know, all comes back to that line. Even if Darrell Taylor's injured, I'm okay with what's going on the defense. You know, I'm okay with that. But that offensive line, bro, they're doing nothing for the run, doing nothing for the pass. Man, these no maniacs here, they're putting it squarely on Ryan Poles, and
we're getting there. We're getting
Well, I'm just giving the the Super No Maniacs the love that they deserve, man, because they're putting it on Ryan Poles, and I don't. Terry Anderson, welcome home, brother.
What you gonna do when the Super No Maniacs run wild on you? Welcome to the channel, Terry, man. We appreciate you. Thank you for becoming a member.
Yeah, man. I cannot blame them, because there is, again, I'm going to use the word I used the other day. There's some level of hubris here, because I feel like all of us should feel like I think we should all feel like Ryan Poles went into this draft believing that he had the offensive line situation solved. Right? You don't.
We're going there. We're going there, kids. I can't let y'all do that. Y'all take it off on me, because I know listen, the thumbnail, fellas, Kedz and Trips, the thumbnail was pretty. It definitely opened up that cavity, didn't it? Because it's a whole lot of shit going on. You looking at social media. I don't know what Trips out, kids. I don't know what social media you guys kind of entertain first. You know, most people, unfortunately, go to fucking Twitter first, and it's a hellscape, man. It's a hellscape. To be honest with you, it's just like, make me it's like if you were to imagine making me a social media site that was popular but was like a magnet for negativity, and it would be Twitter. It's like, literally, you cannot and have a positive psyche, maintain a presence there, and be there like you want to on social media sites, and come away from that site every day feeling good about life, because these some negative motherfuckers on there. And some of, excuse me for this language, and I know some of the nomaniacs that found me on Twitter, but I just want to caution people that space is really, really bad, really, really bad. And if you want to focus on negativity, that will take you there. I'm just trying to focus on, and this is the last time I'll say this, but this matchup between the Rams and the Bears, man, I think it's a lot of people that don't believe that they're an obstacle for us. And I'm telling you, by Sunday, I guarantee you're going to feel different. I hope we have a knockout, drag out performance, and we really turn a corner. But this is not one of those games where you want to just say, all right, let me know when the final whistle blows, because this is a real challenge, man. You're talking about an experienced, very experienced Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator that knows what to do with this offense. Talking about a quarterback that's been in his system and is a veteran and probably going down as one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. With one Super Bowl to his credit, this cat will slice and dice a zone-based concept to pieces. You don't alter your way you approach this cat, he will dice this motherfucker up right in front of us, and we'll be wondering like, what the fuck we're supposed to have one of the better defenses in the league. And because if the coach doesn't call this right, he's gonna expose them to Matthew Stafford, who's a fucking surgeon. So I just want to warn everybody and say thank you to Terry Anderson one more time for becoming a member, but don't be going to sleep on this fucking team. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, no, I had this penciled as a loss first, potentially, in my, in when I made my picks for this season. I did not know that both Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua would be hurt at this time of the season, right? I did not know that. So there is a window of opportunity, but I think if it comes down to, who the better head coach is on Sunday, I'm going to have to, I'm going to lean towards Sean McVay potentially in that capacity. And that's kind of where my mindset is here, especially again with some of the injury we're looking at, it's going to be a tough challenge. But at the same time, the upside to me, I think with the as long as Keenan Allen plays football on Sunday, I think we're going to see a little bit more of a spark again this week from the offense.
Well, looking at the Rams offense versus the Bears defense, Stafford and McVay will eat Flus for lunch if he calls that vanilla bullshit he likes to call. You know, you got to change it up. You got to let Coach Washington get some calls in there or get some different blitz or stunts, because just line up and cover 2, 4-man rush, go. Yeah, that's not going to get it done because there's too much open grass for receivers to get to, and it doesn't matter if they're not Kupp or Nakua. It's just a receiver. Hey, go over there. Our Super Bowl winning quarterback will find you. And McVay knows how to draw shit up, and they're coached really well. And, that coaching aspect is something that I believe that the Bears would be underdogs at if that was a Vegas stat. So, I mean, we got the talent on the field. It's just putting them in a position to win. And there's nothing that I've seen from the offense or defensive side of the ball that make me go, oh, yeah, our coaches, they got this. Because Flus just be on the sideline looking like, huh? Which way did he go? Which way did he go? And it's like, dude.
Let me acknowledge Terry Anderson right quick, man, because he's saying something that I think needs to be we need to kind of put some emphasis on. He said the Rams are better, and he asked the question. The Rams are a better team, as is the coach. Listen, Terry, I'm gonna promise you this. What Matthew Stafford, what Sean McVay and this team can do to the Bears versus what the coach did to us, it's child's fucking play.
They can just out scheme this team, right? So they can, yeah.
It's like an apple and an orange in the difference. This team, they will scheme up shit to really. If Flus has that play sheet and he stays in the mindset that he had against the Colts, trust and believe they'll be up 21-0 or 21-7 by halftime.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for Anthony Richardson being like, here you go, Bears, here's the ball, this game wouldn't have been that close against Indy. And Stafford is no Anthony Richardson.
We also wouldn't have won that. We also wouldn't have won that first game if it wasn't for
mayonnaise throwing up the ball like
for
that.
Will Levis, right? On mayonnaise, yeah, mayonnaise.
Kids,
yeah.
I'm so
same
afraid.
Situation.
Kids, I'm so afraid. I want somebody to hold Flus fucking hostage for this game. Just duck tie that motherfucker and put him in a closet until this game is over, and give that shit to Eric Washington, because I think, goddamn, I'm telling you, Sean McVay is going to destroy him if he goes with the same mindset of sitting in a zone scheme. He's going to get destroyed.
So, man. So Matt. Anyway, okay. I'm not even going to say what I'm thinking and laughing about because it's just me. Man, the coaching situation, you just have to look at. You got to give it up to the Rams. You just got to give it up. And we're talking about an offensive genius who unfortunately is down one superstar and a burgeoning superstar wide receiver. But that does not dilute the guy who's throwing the football. That guy's dangerous, man. So yeah, it's going to be a tough situation. Thank goodness we're not also that you don't also have to layer on Aaron Donald on top of that. You know what I'm saying? Like that is beneficial. Oh. But in the end, it's going to be a decent football game. I think like sometimes. Anyhow, so sometimes quarterbacks, when they see each other play, they pick things up. I've seen it in the past, and I hope I hope Caleb's able to pick up a couple of little tricks from Matt Stafford there today, early in his career, when he gets the opportunity to watch him go to market and do what he does. But besides that, I do think just the inclusion of Keenan Allen is going to be a huge boost to the way this offense works, and I can't wait to see it. I just hope again that offensive line is healthy enough to allow for good things to happen.
Well, didn't I see today that Davis is still questionable, and Darnell Wright has a back issue, so he might not even play. And they're talking about the rookie and Magaje at right tackle and Pryor at right guard, and it's just piecemealing it all together again. Something that Flu said he didn't want to do, yet here we are.
Trips, you know what I see? How I see
the most shuffle.
I see this game in a kaleidoscope, man. And I see in this kaleidoscope, I see a whole lot of color. I see a Sean McVay saying, you know what, honey, I'm gonna go take a trip. I'm gonna go take a walk out to the beach. I'm gonna grab my chair, grab me a pina colada, and I'm gonna just chill for a second and just get away from the game for a minute, And as he's getting away from the game, at least he thinks he's sitting on the beach by himself, chilling. And he's got a little notebook with him or his phone, whatever he jots notes with. And he's gonna think about this shit, this matchup, and what he saw on film, and he's gonna come up with something that he's not scared to call during the game. Why? Is because he thinks in the kaleidoscope with a whole lot of color versus a guy that's walking around with the same plays he's had in his pocket for the last 3-4 years as a defensive coordinator, and believing 100% that if we get there with 4, and if we do this right and we focus on our fundamentals, we'll get there. And he's gonna get his ass eaten. I'm serious, man.
And not in a fun way.
Pause. And that's what we're gonna be dealing with here shortly, man. I don't like it, man, because if Flus has got that play call sheet, he doesn't see the kaleidoscope that offensive coordinator who can scheme shit up to really fuck you around. He's got the tool set as far as a thinker to really, really embarrass Flus, man. And it's the truth, man. I'm scared that Flus will be under the microscope much more than he is this week after this game.
It's like the Jason with the super chat saying, man, y'all are overreacting. 49ers are depleted. 49ers. It's taken a little time for the offense to gel, Bates being injured through a wrench and everything. Yeah, I get that, want to be positivity, and like Nomad was saying on Twitter is, let's be positive, but Twitter is populated by people that populate the earth. You go to any bar, you go to any club, it's like, hey, how about those Bears? Oh, they fucking suck. Or it's like, hey, they're still young and burgeoning. You're going to get the reaction from the people that you're going to get the reaction from. You go to the grocery store and see somebody in the Bears jersey and be like, what do you think this week? It's like, man, what the fuck is wrong with our old line? Total strangers. Not being negative, but just being real. We're what, 1-3? Or 1-2?
1-2. Hey, don't jinx it, man. We're coming in. We still got a game to play here.
So winning cures all, or at least settles down everything. It's all right, we won, and there will still be those, well, we still need to do that. But yeah, we got the W. Williams threw for 300 yards and a loss. Who gives a shit? It's a loss. It's like the personnel decisions on the Waldron. It's like, why is Carter getting so many looks, and why can't Tyler Scott get a rep like on a deep post or some shit? I don't know. Everett and Komet, what's going on there? It's like, why is Everett getting so many looks and he has done nothing on the field to earn those? So it's just those decisions, and there's just so much negativity going on the offense that it's like, it's hard to be like, well, give them time. And then, 7 games into the season when they still suck, hopefully not. It's like, well, shit, we saw that in game 2 of the season. It's like, oh, but I thought they could, straighten it out and gel. It's like, yeah, they gelling as much as as gelling as gelled. I don't know, but it's just not anything that you can hang your hat on other than the defense to say that, hey, this Chicago Bears team in 2024 looks pretty damn good. It's like just too much discombobulation for just to have that positive aura for me.
Well, Jason, and thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Listen, I get where you're coming from, and this isn't normal coming from me, but the only reason I'm responding this way and really kind of lighting a fuse under the Bears fans is because I'm seeing a whole bunch of, okay, this is our rebound game, and this is about to be a cakewalk because they're injured and all that kind of stuff. This is an offensive mind, Jason. This is an offensive mind and an absolutely great one against a pretty good defensive mind. I can't call Flus a great defensive mind. And it's a matchup of wits. You know, what can we do against what they like to do? Matt, he's literally sitting in a room with him. Matt, what do you like here? If they come out and you see this set. This game comes down to, this is going to literally be a game of chess. When I say a game of chess, I mean a literal game of chess. If one guy moves the wrong way on the defense, Matthew Stafford is going to pick up a cue and he's going to know where to go. Even if that one misstep by the defense is a ploy to trick Matthew Stafford, so it's a zone blitz scheme and that kind of thing that defensive coordinators play those games too. And so I'm telling you, it's a matchup of wits. And who do you think is the more wittier coordinator? And that's really what Sean McVay is. He's a head coach, but he's a coordinator. I like Sean McVay's wits, but I love our defense. If Flus thinks outside of the box and decides that he cannot play the base concept and decides to be a little unorthodox and give Matthew Stafford something he's not prepared for. That's really my entire argument, is I haven't seen Flus do that yet. He's got to come right out of the box and attack these guys.
It's only been 3 years. Right.
If he doesn't come right out of the box and attack these guys and make Matthew Stafford uncomfortable, it's going to be a long game. This is how I feel about it.
Thanks for that. That's terrible. It is, but it just got me thinking about Matt Eberflus as a whole, as a coach. And I think it's time that he lets go of the reins of the defense. I think it's time that Matt Eberflus becomes an actual head coach. Right? That's my 2 cents at this present time in Bears land. That's my thoughts. I think Matt oops. Ooh, but hold on now. But watch it now. Watch me now. So,
give me 10, motherfucker. I don't want to hear.
There's a reason for that slip, though. There's a reason for it. So I think Matt Eberflus is suffering from some of the same things that Matt Nagy was suffering from. Matt Nagy held so tight onto that play sheet. He wanted to be that offensive guru, and it just never worked out. Couldn't get the details figured out. Didn't know where the whys were. But in the meantime, he had no idea how to manage the clock or the game and was losing out on situational stuff that was happening right in front of his face. Matt Eberflus is holding on to the defense when he doesn't have to. He has Eric Washington there. Give the guy the reins. Let him do the damn job. Let him do the job. Take a step back. Pay attention to the football game. Manage the clock effectively. That's your job.
Wasn't was it Harry Easton that had to come in last season to be a defensive consultant? And it's like, why do we need a defensive consultant if we got Flus? It's like, oh, obviously Flus ain't getting it done.
No, who's the guy? Nomad?
Wait, run that by me again.
Who was the defensive consultant last season?
Easton,
Phil Snow.
Snow, that was Easton was offense, my bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but having to bring in consultants means that you aren't getting it done. I mean, otherwise you don't need to bring in a consultant. because it would be redundant. And there is nothing in the history of the Flus era. Granted, there was a roster teardown, and he had to, going through the rebuild and all that. But just his acuity as a head coach, how many times we have to be like, well, you gonna call timeout? No. Oh, you're gonna have Cairo Santos attempt a 56-yard field goal instead of using your 4th-round punter to pin him deep and let the defense eat.
I'm glad you're bringing it back to that kick, because on the sidelines, if you're paying attention, he's standing beside Cole Kmet, and Cole Kmet looks at him and he's like, "Yo, think you can make that kick?" And it's just a look on his face, and Carlos Santos, being a little guy, kind of looks up over at Cole Kmet, and he's like, "I'm gonna try." And that was it. He went out there, he gave it a shot.
Right, but it's like, as a head coach, you got to know your kicker's limitations. He has never kicked a kick that far and made it good.
You gotta know your fucking personnel. Number one. I'm gonna flip this to the
positive.
Wait,
one more. When I forget who the receiver was, but clearly had 1 foot down, and with his drag foot is kicking up the black pellets with the ball in one hand. Why are you challenging that? Burning the timeout. And then when you should challenge, you don't.
Here's why I think we have the advantage. And this is the advantage that you don't sneeze at. The playmakers. We have an advantage on the defensive side and playmakers. So that if I don't think, be honest with you, I think the Bears used to struggle with physical running backs, bigger physical running backs, and they kind of used to kind of take advantage of them. And, the other running back that I can think of right off the top of my head, he was kind of a knife. And I see Kyron Williams in the same kind of vein, and they'll have to scheme this up to make sure they can't call screenplays and bust out a 60-yarder on us. But it was what was his last? Aaron Jones was built kind of like Kyron Williams, and he kind of just knifed the defense and really pressed gaps and holes and really made the defense pay for not being in lanes and getting one-on-one tackles. I see that as a potential problem, but I think if they come out traditionally and try to run the ball against us, they will fail with Kyron Williams. But I think if they try to get wide in the screen game, if guys don't make one-on-one tackles, we could be in trouble. But I do like our playmakers. I think we have when I say a strong advantage, I think we have an extremely strong advantage on our side, on both sides of the ball, at playmakers, how we use them. Now, I think we'll get the playmakers involved on offense without a problem. Defensively, remember when I was talking to you kids about, we talk in the locker room about letting your dogs eat. Use your playmakers. You got dogs on the defensive side of the ball. Let them attack.
So Terry Anderson's saying right now, are we blitzing this week? If no, we in trouble here.
Basically, if we don't let them attack and let the dogs eat, those key players, those we got dog players on the defensive side of the ball. But if they're sitting back playing catch and not attacking and going downhill, we're just not setting ourselves up for a good result. And that's just the truth about it.
Well, speaking of the running game, last against Indy, Taylor was gashing them in the run early, and then they got away from it. And then Richardson threw a couple picks, but then late in the game, they got back to it, and Taylor was gashing again. So, the defense is good, but they're not perfect. They can be beat with the run and can be beat going vanilla. So who's the defensive coordinator for St. Louis? I'm sorry, St. Louis. Los Angeles Rams?
What's that now?
Who's the Rams defensive coordinator?
Oh, God, Lee, you got me. It was
Chris Shula.
It was Raheem, but he just took the where's Raheem?
Raheem Morris?
No. Yeah, Raheem is in it. Yeah, Raheem Morris is somewhere now, but I can't think of the D coordinator. I can't lie to you.
All right, but on both sides of the ball, they know how to scheme stuff up. And there's enough film on this offense and defense that'd be like, well, let's attack here, here, and there until the Bears prove they can stop it. And so offensively, defensively, it's just any given Sunday. And for those that are like, yeah, this Rams should be an easy win. If you think the negativity was bad now, don't let them lose this game. Then it's like, oh Lord, the season is over.
It's gonna be hell being a Bears podcaster if they don't do the right thing. But ATL, thank you, Crimson. ATL, Raheem Morris, the head coach in ATL in Atlanta.
So what we need to see is like they're gonna do the same thing everybody else is doing. So we need to see two things. We need to see Caleb defeated, right? They're gonna bring 7, 8, 9, and with the thought that we're running the football, right now. And this is what Greg Gabriel was saying. They're gonna bring 7, 8, 9 guys, and that's what's happening. That offensive line is just being overwhelmed because the idea is they're running. We're to send the house. We could bring 8, but let's bring another guy, 2.
I'm glad you brought that up. You done? Because I was going to bring up something
Sure.
You want to talk about, man, because the criticisms, let's start with Flus. Let's just leave it Flus right here. The criticisms, and you were just talking about O-line. We're talking about social media. We're talking about everything. We're talking about how do we feel about Flus? I think people have bent over backwards. And I mean people, I mean myself. I'm people. I've bent over backwards to try to accommodate Flus as a head coach. And do I think he's head coach worthy? Right up until I start feeling good about that, he does something. in the game management, man, I can't help it. But that game management and how he manages the clock, how he manages his timeouts, how he manages his challenge flags. People think that's nothing, coaches make mistakes. Dude, that's everything. If the players are doing what they need to do to put you in position to get advantages in games, and your coach is out there fucking blowing it. He's out there fucking blowing it.
Or along those lines too, like Crimson saying, watch all the dogs on defense on the sideline doing important third downs. I mean, that's coaching. And Flus's response is, "Oh, I let the position coaches determine the rotations." Dude, the game's on the line. Put your men out there. That's the men, not the boys.
Trips, I can make a strong argument for saying this. It would behoove Flus to not give up that. It would behoove him. You need to give up that play calling sheet so that you can focus on the game management part of what you need to do as a head coach. Quit trying to do every fucking thing. You've got a qualified defensive coordinator who's got chops and a record. Give him the goddamn call sheet and focus on managing the game. What is wrong with that? Are you threatened by Eric Washington? What is it? Because it seems to me like you have an overqualified guy sitting there not calling the game, and you're sitting there running around like a chicken with your head cut off. He's got a set that has offense, and he's got a set that has defense as far as his headsets go. And he's bouncing back and forth in between them. That shit's stupid.
I'm at a different place with the man, and it's that he calls a basically vanilla defense, and that just means that he has the right personnel on that defense. The personnel is basically exactly who you need to have in every position to manage a defense without having a blitz. And I would agree with that, with the slight exception of maybe again left tackle. I think they've done a pretty solid job of constructing a defensive team. So if you're not going to blitz and you're not going to stunt, you're not going to twist, and you're just going to kind of do things vanilla. Like, what are you like? Are you really doing all that much as a defensive coordinator?
Or when he drops like Billings in the coverage.
You know what I'm saying? You're getting risky now. You're getting risky now.
What kind of sandwich do you want, Mr. Flus? Just give me bologna.
Give me a bologna sandwich. It's the same sandwich I had yesterday, and it'll be the same sandwich I have tomorrow as well. It'll always be a bologna sandwich.
Bologna on white bread, no condiments.
I'm just saying, like, if that's the case, then are you really doing a fantastic job calling the defense? If the defense kind of is what it is because of the personnel, are you really the impetus of the defensive awesomeness? And I don't know if he is. And I'm at the level where I'm not sure how much I care if he is, because nobody's good at managing the friggin' games. Nobody. So somebody has to be good at this, is what I'm trying to say. Somebody has to be.
It's only one guy managing the game, kids.
But this is my point. Like, if he's managing the game and managing the defensive calls, I might not sound like I am, but I'm actually giving him the benefit of the doubt here and saying that maybe that's why he's not good at managing the games. Maybe his concentration is split. He's focusing on the defense and calling the defense. Maybe that's what's happening. Because he's not good at the other thing, and he's the head coach, and somebody has to be. So maybe he should stop focusing on that thing and let the guy he hired for that job assume the reins of that job now, so he can zero in on stuff like 2 points. We want to go for 2? Yeah, we're going for 2 points.
And we know this ahead of time.
All right, it's time. It's time, kids. It's time.
I'm just saying, like, he's not like, and I said this the other day. I brought Dan Campbell up the other day, and I'm super glad this is a Super No Maniac show, and there's no Don Burr. You know what I mean? Absolutely zero love for Don Burr. No Don Burr. But Dan Campbell came out, and he sounded like a goofball. Sounded like a pro wrestler. And I was like, look at this guy. Yo, he's a crafty head coach. You got to give it to him. He's a crafty head coach. He is. He's risky. Sometimes the risks don't pan out, but you got to give it to him. He's crafty, right? And to make things make a little bit more sense, even when he screws those things up, he'll also come out there and go, look, that was on me. I made the call. You know, I made the call in that situation. That was a risk I took, and we didn't come through.
All right.
Whereas Bruce would be like, hey, yeah, we got to execute better.
We got to execute better. We got to execute better. It's a team effort. The team.
I think I know where we are. I think I know where we are. And I'm going to ask the Super No Maniacs to chime in with this, because the bailiff has entered the room, and here comes the jury right behind him. And we're going to judge. Since we came here to do that, and I think it sounds like everybody's in the judgmental state. And so we're going to give a letter grade to Flus. We're going to start with the No Maniacs. What's your letter grade on Flus? You know, consider everything now. Consider everything given what he was given when he got here, what he has now, up to game 3, going into game 4. Give him a letter grade. Give him a letter grade. Starting with you, kids. I got an F right away.
It's Crimson, double F from It's Crimson. Let's just cold-blooded. It's Crimson.
Damn.
Oh, man. C from Joseph Archer. F- from Jose. No way, Jose. No way, bro. That's too much. D+ from Terry Anderson.
Yeah, damn. That's
if you really C- from Dan Brown, things are good. Things are getting a little bit more positive. Man, great as a head coach. I can't give.
Yes, you can, and you must.
But I mean, quadruple F to the nth degree. Smitty Q.
Damn, Smitty.
Yo, exponential F is what he's saying. Like,
God damn, Smitty.
I mean,
Whoa.
how is it not an F? Because what has he done to get anything better? You know,
Well,
like
come
only
on,
victory.
we got to
was
give some
because-
credit for something now. You know, head
what?
coach comes with a lot of responsibilities.
Well,
You know,
what
off the
the
field
only
shit.
victory this team has is because Mayonnaise threw the ball up for grabs. That's the only victory we have this season. So what has Flus done to earn anything better than an F?
It takes more than the on-field play. And
Jose, that's perfect. All right, you know what? Fair. Okay, so if we're talking as a head coach,
hold on. Now let's talk
he's
about
right.
we said head
He's
coach, man. We said head coach.
I know, and he's right because it's two different things. It's
we can
two
go
different.
DC right after that, kids. We can do that.
If he's asking me the honest question, HC, yeah, bro, it's got to be an F, bro. I can't even come off that.
Damn,
I can't even come off that. Like
King, you just missed a whole lot. So where we at? The bailiff entered the room and so did the jury, man. Everybody's ready to judge Flus with a letter grade, King, on his performance thus far, given what he's had from year one to where he is now. I'm talking about not just the results in games and the on-field performance, what he had to do off the field to keep these guys together. And I'm gonna jump ahead of you, Trips. I'm gonna give him a C minus because only reason he gets to that status is because he's maintained.
He's a good DC.
He made a great I don't think he's a good DC. I think he's an average defensive coordinator. But what he's done off the field to maintain a standard and build something within that culture and in that locker room, I think that's nothing to sneeze at. I think that's something you take a hat off to him, man, and keep those guys together. I think that gets me to the C status. You know what I mean? Because I respect the shit out of that, knowing how many of all those characters that he has to manage. You know, so
I hasn't that translated to anything on the field.
You're still a head coach. You got to manage all those guys. There's a management portion.
Well, as head coach, the management, his defensive coordinator got fired for whacking off in his office last year or whatever the hell he was doing. And then wasn't it the running backs coach or secondary coach, another one that got fired for talking shit in Hallis Hall or somebody? So, I mean, that's two of his staff that got fired, not by him, but by HR, and so it's like, well, that's not good. And then his new hire this year, offensive coordinator, as an offensive coordinator, yeah, I got a staff that wants to run my shit. But it's like, wait a minute, I got to keep your offensive line coach, who's he developed? And so, that's a Flus decision as well. So his CEO skills are very, very lacking.
Well, again, some of these guys are saying it in the chat. The culture of losing, dude, it's like all those dudes he's got to manage. And one thing I think people kind of look over is that our guys don't get in trouble. You don't see guys out there hating on each other and doing crazy stuff, and you don't hear about fights. And that shit's important. You know what I mean? Because that kind of shit is a downhill spiral. It's a downward spiral once that shit sets in your locker room and those cancers start setting there. You got to be willing to pluck that shit out and deal with it right away. And I mean, it's a small thing to an outsider, but a person that's been a deep part of locker rooms and been a captain on teams, I know how much work it is to maintain that shit.
Well, now, how long before the defense, starts talking shit about the offensive line, like in practice or in the locker room?
It won't be long. It won't be long, Trip. It won't be long. You already saw. I already saw a chink in the armor with what's his name, Shelton, came out and said he kind of laughed at the call that Waldron called that speed option when on the goal line. That was kind of a slap in the face to the old coordinator, man, and the whole situation, man. And you get guys, if one guy did it and didn't get in trouble for it, you'll have guys lining up to criticize after that. I'm just gonna tell you now. If he got away with that and he's a starter next week or this week, and if things go wrong, guys will be lining up to criticize these motherfuckers.
Oh, they can't do anything about him. What are they gonna? Who are they gonna start? Man, they can't. They can barely discipline Nate Davis.
Man, put Kramer out there. Shit.
Don't ask for stuff you're not ready to see.
It gets to a point that how many times you got to see Shelton and or Davis on their ass before it's like, look, we got to put somebody else in there because they're not getting it done. Period. So it's like, Carver or Bill Murray or Kramer, somebody. If not, find somebody who can play because you just can't keep running the same shit out there expecting different results. It's like, oh, well, they'll gel now. It's like they can't pick up a stunt. These are professional offensive linemen. They don't know how to hand off a stunt. They just out there like, which way did he go? Which way did he go? And then also on that option on the goal line, that still shot that I used for my thumbnail on Sports Chicago Style in the game wrap up was 4 offensive linemen, looking like they was chilling on the beach. And it's like, what are we doing? What were they? What are we doing? What?
Well, this is where, this is where reps in preseason would have been nice to have because you could have maybe worked on some red zone stuff.
Fundamentals.
Like fundamentals, but red zone package. Sure, we'll work on a couple of things. We'll try a couple of things out. See what we maybe we can do some stuff we hadn't thought of before. Test some stuff out. Why not? Let's just run Velus Jones at the 1 yard line every single time. Make a name out of Velus Jones, and that's it. I don't care what it is, but you can try some stuff out. Right now, if you're saying we're in the exploratory phase, is what you're saying. That's basically what that means, right? They're just they're throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks. They're gonna try some stuff, and we're gonna find out this week what that stuff actually looks like and whether any of it's gonna work. But I think it all really comes back down to that line and that run game, and whether either one can be sufficient this coming week. Because if they can't run the ball, if they cannot successfully run the football, we lose. I think it's about that simple.
Well, here's the bottom line, and I just read the chat. I just read you two guys in my own point of view, and I don't think we can give Flus better than a D-, because I seen a lot of F's in there, but I seen a few C's in there. I'm giving him a C-. That's the best I can give him. The best thing you can do after look at averages. He's got a D-.
So he's probably an E? E-? He said?
No, an I, incomplete, motherfucker. That's it.
Oh,
that's it.
Shit, and they talking about, oh yeah, Flus will be back next year. Shit,
man, it's pretty. He's losing me, and I
don't even understand that one. Like he was so.
I see your pressure rising, Kedz. I can see it.
Yeah, I'm trying not to do certain things, and I have to pull myself back from not saying where my head is right now, because my head went to a place that wasn't good. It just, why not upgrade there? Like that's where you upgrade.
So all right, here we go, man. Because I think we'll end up talking about this dude again before this show is over. But we got to move. We got to push the ball. Get it on up the court. Ryan Poles, too early to judge, or are we right on time? How about this? I'm gonna preface this conversation with this. Kedz and Trips. I saw a lot of confidence about the O-line and almost cockiness about the improvement of the O-line going into the regular season, coming out of preseason, as a matter of fact, because it looked clean. We all approved, and we was like, oh, this O-line looks pretty good. I think most people felt like that. I'm going to say that right out in the open now. Number one. Number two, did we overestimate what this offensive line was capable of, Trips and Kids, given the fact that Justin was probably 30-40% of the running game last year, in the last couple of years, and we thought that we had this bona fide running game, and turns out these motherfuckers can't move nobody around, and it was, let's just start there. I'll let you guys take off from there, man. I'll just be quiet.
Kids.
I hate you. Look, man. Yeah, no, yeah. All of those things. He didn't, man, it's almost funny. It's almost funny. He did all the stuff that we suggested he didn't do. And we were like, you know what? It's going to work this time. And it's kind of a little bit sticky. That's basically where we are. And for the most part, I'm fine with most of the stuff that he's done so far, right? I kind of applaud it because he had to make this team his own. And the areas that are of the utmost questionable, the most questionable areas for me are the Kieran pick and the Tory Taylor pick at this point. Everything else is fine. Like, people are like, oh, why Roma Dunze and not a lineman there? Sure, okay, cool. But even that one, I'll give you a pass for. I think Roma Dunze is a talent. And I think his talent in Chicago is a welcome talent. But the third round pick, you could have done something with. You had, and you did, but you spent it on a guy who's not likely to play this season, which is just a little weird.
Yeah, they're talking about him starting Sunday at right tackle.
Is he? He might be, and this is sort of what I'm trying to say. Like, if he's starting at right tackle on Sunday, he can't. All right, but is he ready to start at right tackle?
Hey, that's a different question.
Right. And that's what I'm worried about. Right. I'm not so sure he's had the opportunity to really get acclimated, not just to the offense, but to the offensive line, his partners, that dancing line of bears. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. I hope the best for the kid, and I hope he gets to play. And if that's the case, maybe I'm judging too harshly too early on a Quran situation, but we do need that help right now with with Darnell down, with Larry Borum down, right? We definitely need that help at the tackle position right now. I don't know, man. And then to think again, with all the troubles that we're having with this line, you got a kicker in the fourth. I'm sure there was an offensive lineman. I'm pretty sure there was a really good center floating around in the fourth. But
you know what, kids? I wonder, and King, I gotta pull up King's. Damn, if you can find King's last comment, kids, that'd be great. But he was talking about Poles, everybody talking about him being an O-line guru. No, he's not an O-line guru. He was just an O-lineman that didn't make the team. He said, question, whoever said Poles was an O-line guru, question mark. That seemed to be the position that he has Ray Charles syndrome. Man, dude, let me tell you something. I'm gonna break this part of what King just said down to some science right here. I believe they are totally leaning into Chris Morgan and his judgment and his ability to be able to develop guys. And they've gotten. I think Chris Morgan has sold them a bill of goods, and he's told them that they can draft anywhere that they want to. If you got a guy that you want, I'll develop him. And I'm not seeing it. They're starting to think that you can go and wait and get bargain basement guys off the scrap heap of other people's teams, bring them onto your team, and somehow you put them in the room with Chris Morgan, they'll be better. That's some bullshit if I never heard it. I think he is selling these guys a bill of goods, and they are trusting this guy too much and avoiding from drafting high on offensive line. And in order to be really good, You not only have to know exactly what you have caliber-wise, I'm talking about stud ability, offensive lineman. You either know you have a stud or you don't. You either find a stud late in the draft, middle draft, or you don't. But to be sitting here thinking because some guy was a project on some other team and he couldn't make it there, like they don't have good fucking offensive line coaches, and all of a sudden you bring him to Chicago, and because you got Chris Morgan, who is a so-called, highly respected offensive line coach around, I don't give a fuck how many people respect him. How effective are you, motherfucker? I don't care. Are you getting the results with the people in your room? It doesn't seem like he's doing that. And so if you want to hear me get angry, I'm talking about that shit. There's no excuse for this offensive line to be that goddamn bad. And so he is selling them a bill of goods, and they are buying it, and he's making them all look stupid. Somebody gonna lose their goddamn job because of Chris Morgan.
Well, see, that's the part that, well, another part that is very frustrating to longtime watchers of this team who haven't won a Super Bowl since 1986.
It was
85. This is what, 2024? So it was a long fucking time ago.
Yes.
And Poles has done some good things. He's done some bad things with trades and free agent signings. That's fine because not every GM can be perfect. Okay, cool. I'm still a little miffed that we didn't take the haul, stock the team, which obviously still needs stocking, but we took the rookie quarterback, but we can't protect him. So, all right, you got weapons and you got a quarterback, but you have no offensive line to give him time to get the ball to his weapons. And being sold a bill of goods is one thing, but he's up there in the box when the camera cuts to Ryan Poles during the game and he's looking miffed and pissed. It's like, well, fix it. I mean, that is literally your job. So, I mean, if the offense isn't performing, he has eyes. He's an intelligent person. He cannot see that this offensive line is the weak part. And so now we got a new offensive coordinator, retained the offensive line coach, and then now it's possible like Flus might be on the hot seat. And so we got to hire another coach and then keep the same offensive coordinator. Don't let him hire his people. Or if it goes bad, President Warren's be like, yeah, we got a clean house. But they just hired Waldron, so I doubt they get rid of him. We just drafted Williams. So everything's going to be all mix, mash, washy again because not one firm under one umbrella, cohesive coaching management unit going on. They're piecemealing this all together and like, well, we're going to take this part and put it in this new part, then get rid of the old part and do this part. And it's like, this shit doesn't work. We've seen this before. It doesn't work.
But goddamn Thanksgiving dinner out of a pack of hot dogs. How you gonna do that, Trip?
Well, shit. Well, first of all, you look and be like, yeah, Nate Davis, he ain't it. Why is he still on this team? Yeah. As a general manager, you look at the production that he has put out, and it's like, yeah, that ain't good. So yeah, let me go ahead and cut Carter and keep Davis. Wait, what? And then it's like, okay, yeah, Shelton. He wasn't horrible, but he wasn't good with the Rams. But yeah, he's our free agent signing. Bates, he's had a hard on for Bates, for a couple years now. So it's like he got him, but he can't stay healthy. And so it's like, well, all right, who's left? Darnell Wright. He was a top 10 pick, so he's already supposed to be good. And Braxton Jones, still getting his push back into the quarterback. This is years later. So what has SEMO done to be like, yeah, sell him a bill of goods? Well, it's like all these.
He ain't got no goods to sell.
Right. He has nothing to stand behind. I'll be like, yeah, this offensive lineman, I developed that. I developed him. It's like, who can he point to and say that?
It's the indictment, Trips, when it comes to polls, has to start right there. We got this guy and expected to see we talking about, think about where we were before he came in here and the quarterback trials and tribulations of not being protected and just getting fucked over game in and game out. This guy was supposed to come in here and stabilize the line. Here we are, -1 quarterback because he couldn't stay off the ground. You know, people going to have their, you know, criticism of Justin, and warranted, because all of them are warranted, I'm sure. And here we are with this young rookie, and this rookie shit that's getting them on the ground at the same time. That offensive line was a goddamn turnstile in game 2. I mean, an absolute turnstile, the entire line. It was a turnstile, man. And that's not what you expect to see with the offensive line, former offensive line, 2 former offensive linemen as your GM and your assistant GM. We expected to see some different things, and that's exactly the opposite of what we've seen.
I mean, Poles was in Kansas City, you know, helping them, or he was there when they built that line. Cunningham was in Philly when they built that line, and those are very 2 good offensive lines. But these 2 assholes can't figure out how to put it together here. And it's like, what are we doing? And it's like, well, think about the positivity, you know? It's like, oh, get the fuck out of here. Look at the record.
You know what's funny though, guys? Like, they retained him. The better part of this line hasn't changed. They kept the guy. It's not like these guys are like, oh, we got to deal with a new guy. Everything's different. It's the same guy. It's the same people. It's the same guy. How does this line look this bad? I don't know what kind of excuse he really has at this point, because to make matters worse, it didn't look good in years 1 or 2. So it looked bad. It looked bad. It looks bad. And
because we got 3 lovers and 2 fighters on the offensive line. 3 lovers and 2 fighters. There's 2 fighters, D Wright, and we got Ted Jenkins.
So we got Chuck Norris.
Everybody else is a goddamn lover. You got lovers and fighters on the O-line. You need 5 fucking fighters. That's why.
Well, I don't. But look. If that's the case, these are things that should have been sussed out before we walked into the season. And that's really where my headspace is. They should have figured out whether people were loving or fighting or doing neither, or either and or. I'm just saying they should have figured that out. What I will say though is the snaps look pretty decent.
Yeah, there's a positive.
You know what I mean? Like I gotta throw that out there for the rest of the world. Snaps have been an issue for the last 4 or 5 years. At the very least, snaps are not skidding or flying over top of people's heads. So shout out Coleman Shelton. You know what I'm saying? Gotta give the guy a little bit of love, man.
Hey, I gotta bring this up. Hey, Trish, let me bring this up right quick because this is important right here. Mo Fugler, I think I spoke to him on. I think he reached out to me and said some stuff to me about Olin and the offensive line and the way he's been breaking it down. I've been watching Olin fairly closely, and he's right ass on point. Whatever this friction between Olin and the McCaskies, whatever that shit is that they got going on, it would be a Christmas gift to me if they were able to find a way to put a resolution to it, man, because I think Olin sitting on the outside and the fringes of the organization and not being a pivotal part of what they're doing, I think is a huge fucking waste. Olin is a
legendary offensive line asset. Readily at your fingertips to call the guy.
God damn, stop with the bullshit with the pride and let's get a resolution, man. God.
But like how is the old man who owns the show, doesn't watch the show or put the show on, got a problem? Like how he got a problem? Just sign the damn checks. Pay the guy, let him come in, maybe help do something cool. I also want to move things a little bit along with the Simo conversation, because Simo's been promoted to the run game coordinator. I know we're really focusing on, we're focusing on offensive line play here and his input there. But since he's been promoted, we've seen quite literally the worst running case scenario in Chicago history. Like Chicago's like a run. They run traditionally. Chicago runs the ball pretty well. I think we can all agree. I don't know what's going on these last 3 since Simo took over. I don't know what's going on.
Hey man, all Simo is doing is making sure the offensive line room got plenty bottles of baby oil.
Somehow it always comes back to this guy. I hate this guy.
I mean, you look for the weak link, and it's like, well, all right, a rookie quarterback, he looks decent, sometimes like a rookie, but that's to be expected. We have running backs who we know can run the ball, but there are no holes opening for him to get through, baby oil, and there's no pass protection. All of that is offensive line. All of that is Chris Morgan's duties, and it all looks like shit. So what is he earning? Why is he getting a check? Why is he employed here? What bill of goods is he saying that he's had?
There's no goods on the card. There's no goods on the card. I'm going to make the indictment a little bit more staunch. All right, a little bit more, little thick. I'm going to thicken the indictment here. Right. So Lucas Patrick, y'all. Lucas Patrick came to the team, played for the team, made a fair amount less than Nate Davis. Nate Davis is still on the team. I'm going to say Lucas Patrick was not a very good center. All right? I'm going to throw that out there. I'm going to say he wasn't – say what?
Playing well now.
Yeah, he's good now. And
how's that happen? How's that, though? I mean,
is he playing center or is he playing guard?
I think he's playing
guard. This is where I'm going. He's playing guard, y'all. Lucas Patrick is a badass guard. Always has been, even when he was with us. Problem was, unfortunately, he kept getting hurt. All right? Kept getting hurt. So that's the downside. But if you are solid, you are respected offensive line coach, would you let would you let him walk out the door and keep Nate Davis?
Well, I mean, geez.
And then watch him go over to New Orleans Saints and play super well. If you're a respected, knowledgeable guy who can develop talent.
I don't think that one is on him. I think that's a dollar and cents thing.
Because Smitty said
that's a dollars and cents thing.
Saving money.
And Nate Davis got inked while Lucas Patrick was on his last, the very end of his contract. So you talking about, you got to think about.
My point is,
here, it's not apples and oranges there.
So my point is, so you still allowed the better of the two guys to walk out the door, regardless as to what the dollars and cents were.
You already got one inked for millions of dollars. You can't let them walk out the door. It's not like you can just say, fuck it, we just paid you umpteen millions of dollars. Get the fuck out of here. It ain't that simple.
I didn't say that. I'm not, you're missing me. I'm not saying get rid of the other guy. I'm saying that I'm watching both of these guys play the sport. This guy's doing the job. This guy ain't doing it. I'm gonna let you leave,
Lucas Patrick.
Well, I probably need you to
before he left, man. Lucas Patrick wasn't even hardly available. So what are they supposed to do with that? Give this guy a new contract?
Sure, you can't re-sign him. He couldn't stay on the field.
Yeah, he couldn't. He was getting hurt, man. You can't get that guy another contract. You can't.
He's an offensive lineman.
He looks like a goddamn dummy for doing it. Even if
no, he's an offensive lineman, guys. Like, let's just be factual. What are we talking about? What have we been talking about all day?
Come on,
injuries. Yeah, offensive linemen are going to get hurt. Finding and having the ability to field offensive linemen is paramount. They will get hurt. They're big guys, man. So you should have a fair amount of depth. So we let the depth go because what? Because you couldn't evaluate the depth. And that's where I'm going. It's got nothing to do with dollars and cents. They have money. Like, there's enough money to throw around.
Call me wrong, but the last thing I can remember with Lucas Patrick, and this is about 4 games out of the end of the regular season. He was in. He finally got healthy after about 4 or 5 games. He gets in, and in the first half, he gets hurt, and we didn't see that motherfucker for the rest of the season for the most part. And we ended up with Cody Whitehair
at center, yes, and then he was also filling in. Lucas Patrick was also filling in for Nate Davis when Nate Davis was hurt and not playing well. He came back in when Cody Whitehair got hurt and was playing well, and it was kind of a turnstile at those 2 positions between those 3 guys. What I'm trying to say is, as a respected coach, he has the upfront ability to look at these 3 guys and go, hey, who's the better guy out of these 3?
See,
that's all I'm saying. And if you think that depth is an important part to the offensive line, they probably shouldn't have let a guy like Lucas Patrick walk out the door. They should have signed him. Hey, here's an extension. It's not a monster contract, but it's an extension. We'll sign you to an extension. I don't believe he got a monster contract when he went over to New Orleans.
There's no way they were going to do that, kids, knowing that they had the free agent market, the trade market, and all those things to look forward to with an unhealthy Lucas Patrick and a question mark above his head. That would have been an absolute, man, dudes. You think it would? The fans would have came at this organization like, why in the fuck would you re-sign Lucas Patrick after all of that? Now I'm just gonna leave that there because I've got to turn the book.
The answer is because he's a good guard.
Well, all right. That being said, I'm respected. I think the jury is right behind the bailiff, and the bailiff just ran in the room, and the judge is at the bench. And I think we're ready. If we're going to be doing some judging tonight, and this is just for the night now, we're going to get back to talking about some real football one-on-one. We're talking about the things on the perimeter. Ryan Poles. Now, I'm going to lay out the case for him. I'm going to play the devil's advocate. Ryan Poles came in with a salary cap hell situation. Stripped the team down. Not only did he do that, he configured the salary cap and got us in a plus situation. Now, that's the role of a GM, is to get your salary cap situation under control, right or wrong, right? And so he did that. He got us in a plus situation, got us from behind the 8 ball. Took a couple years, but he did it, and we suffered for it as fans. And now he's starting to reconstruct. He put together a team. He drafted. He let a quarterback go who he felt like had some promise to him, to draft a young quarterback and a rookie. He's got some veteran pieces around that is if you looked at it, you would say to yourself, this team is ready to compete like right now. But we do have a rookie quarterback. That's a questionable choice. But as fans, we decided that, you know what, it's his prerogative. Like Bobby Brown, it's my prerogative. And that was his choice. All I can do is respect it. You know, my feelings aside, forget all that. He did what he did, and this team is where we are. The offensive line ain't what was promised to us. I'm not going to blame all that on a rookie quarterback. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to hardly blame any of it on it. Where is your letter grade, No Maniacs, Super No Maniacs? Where's your letter grade with Ryan Poles? I'm going to go ahead and start because I know you guys are going to take off. I'm still going to give him a C. I'm going to give him a C. And after you guys go, I'll tell you my reasons.
Yeah, I would give him a C because, like, you know, it's been good, it's been bad, so you average that out. And I'm not mad at not re-signing Patrick because, you know, all last season is like, yeah, he can go. And, you know, it's no, well, now this isn't hindsight, this is foresight or current sight, I don't know. It's like, oh, he's playing good, we should have kept him. It's like, yeah, he'll be hurt next week or whatever, you know, or not. But just the bringing in, it's like, well, this offensive line, I don't know what he was seeing from the talent that he brought in, because it's just been like, yeah, really?
Oh, don't forget how he finagled them draft picks now. I gotta give him credit for that.
Well, yeah, but then, he had all this house money, and then he, instead of like keep flipping it, he cashed in all the chips. And then he cashed them in and didn't protect, his number 1 and number 9 picks. Putting that line in front of him so number 1 can get it to number 9, the ball. And so it's like, well, that's just a huge part of it all. It's like, all right, let's not sign Swift and put that money toward a better offensive lineman. Let's, do something to improve this line. Him saying that, yeah, with the addition of Coward, Pryor, Bill Murray, Shelton, and Bates, it's like, oh, this offensive line, yeah, this is my shit. Y'all just ain't ready. And then the season starts and it's like, well, shit, no, y'all ain't ready. and like Smitty said here in the chat, Morgan selling the TV boxes. It's like, hey, I got this new flat screen, for the Lolo. And you get it home and there's a couple bricks in it. And it's like, yeah, that's what CMO's selling them, and Poles just keep buying it. And so that's going to drive his grade down, because he's, buying what CMO's selling. And that's a huge part of the offense to make it run, because that's now affecting your run game and your passing game. That's the offense.
So you're clear that his indictment in your mind is this offensive line altogether.
Everything else is he could have said, all right, could have, would have, should have. But, you draft all these DBs and it's like, well, all right, maybe not, less one DB and one more O lineman. Address the position group. It's like he's fixed every room on the team except the O line. But the offense isn't going to work without the O line.
Yeah.
And he's an old lineman. So at first when you asked the question, I was like, okay, well, like I'll give him like a B-. And both you guys came in at C. And then you guys got to talking, and I realized that my grade's probably it's probably lower than y'all's grade. So I'm gonna give him a C-. That's my grade for Ryan Poles right now, and it's really more of a these theories that you've bought into, that you've invested into, just have to start to prove positive on the football field is really the answer to all of that. Because again, he's created this team backwards. He has left the left defensive end and the offensive line in peril. And you're right, Triple R. Like he had the ability to, go back to play poker again, right? He left early. He left the jam early. He could have played one more hand and really cashed in, and he didn't. And I'm okay with that, because I kind of like what he did, but there's big gaping holes that still require
timeout,
doing,
kid.
And there's money there. Say what?
Timeout. How in the fuck did Cognac Boys get in here and he's not a member? How did that happen? Well, welcome, Cognac Boys. However you got in here. And he's chatting.
He's coming in from on X. That's why you put it on X.
Oh, okay. My bad, Cognac Boys, man. My bad. Welcome, bro. I never seen it. I'm like, everybody else has a member. Okay. My bad, dude, but go ahead, kids.
But yeah, I mean, man, like I said, I gotta give it a C-. There's a fair amount of mistakes here, guys, but I think that they can all be shored up. The fact of the matter is there was a fair amount of money to go around this offseason to have shored up everything. And that's kind of outside of the draft picks. Like I'll be frank here, right? So like it didn't really matter. He actually was, and you said it. He fixed the books. Once the books were kind of cleared up, and he could do some things. Saquon Barkley could be our running back right now. There's no two ways about that. It's not a far cry in cost difference. Not a, like, and when I say not a far cry, it is a far cry, but it's not like the Chicago Bears couldn't afford to pay Saquon Barkley. Totally could have. Right? Instead, they decided to lock down DJ Moore, which is awesome, except we're still kind of waiting to see that connection between these two. I think we're going to see a little bit of that this week still, but
what's your letter grade? I didn't get it.
C minus, bro. C minus.
C minus. I'm looking at the chat. I'm looking at my grade, and I'm thinking about Trips's. I think we land either.
Maybe not.
I think we land somewhere in between B minus and C plus. From what I saw, what did you guys see? Am I in the neighborhood?
Yeah, but I mean that grade is going to keep going down the longer he lets this discombobulation go on offense.
Yeah,
I might be. You know what? I think we're I'm almost hesitant. I was almost hesitant to even do this, man, because it's almost not fair because this ain't enough played out during this season to really give Ryan Poles a letter grade. But I know we've seen enough of Flus to give him a letter grade. But Ryan Poles has some stuff left, some script left to be filled out in this manuscript during this year that may make that grade that we gave him right this moment change.
For sure. These are all early. This is all early game 3 grades. I'm not going to write this out. Most definitely when we get to game 17, our grades are going to be different. If they're not different, I'm going to be real vexed. I'll just let y'all know. I'm not going to be pleased if my grade is the same. I need this grade to go up to my thoughts, a B plus, because a lot of these theories can be proven. A lot of the investments that he's made can pan out. But man, something needs to be done.
Well, here's the scary part. I know it's like 4 years down the line, but you see Mama and Daddy Williams, watching a baby getting blasted out there every other play. And it's like, yeah, when is our contract up? Because this team over here is looking nice. And if we don't re-sign our number 1 pick after the haul that we could have gotten for him, yeah, that's a definite F. So he has to improve this line to make sure that Caleb Williams and his team are happy that, all right, this GM, he sees the problems, he's addressing the problems, and he's protecting our kid/investment. If Poles just keeps going with the CMO, selling the Wolf tickets, it's going to be a very, very long and dreary future. And I hate to go that far down the road, but fuck.
You think there's a possibility he wouldn't re-sign with us?
Yeah. I mean, well, I'm sure that
I didn't even know if that's a thing you can do. I didn't know they could do that.
Well, what, not re-sign?
Draft, yeah, like if you've drafted, selected a draft pick, do they have like right of refusal to not sign with the team?
I think there's like the first round pick. I think there's like the team option for year 5 or some shit. But I mean, let's look at Williams' history. He went to Oklahoma, then he went to USC. There's no love for teams. He's going to the best situation he deems possible for his goals or win or whatever they may be. It gets to a point where it's like if this O-line isn't fixed, they say you can't fix it during the season. So now we're into, Williams' second year, and then we bring in whatever free agents or whatever draft picks. But if this isn't fixed, he's not going to want to be here. If you were a quarterback, would you want to be here taking all these hits from every direction, every other play? It's like now he's going to be like, yeah, I'm a free agent now. I'm going to go to the Raiders or whoever the fuck that are going to pay me, $200 million. Whereas like Ryan Poles, if he's still here, be like, well, we want to give that to you too. And it's like, no, y'all can't protect me.
I don't think they have the ability to opt out if the team picks up your 5th-year option. Same token, they would have to ink you to a contract between You know, the time that you're drafted and the end of that 5 years. If they don't ink you to a contract at that point, you become a free agent and you could potentially sign with anybody. And that's a question of, again, whether you decide to sign with them or not. So that's really where the 5th-year option situation comes in. So it would be a 5-year play. It's a pretty long play. Good Lord.
It's not looking optimistic right now. That's just the thing.
I'm just saying, like, I don't expect any of this to falter come next season, and I'll be real. There is enough draft capital to correct all of these problems moving forward, right? And that's the one thing that I will say.
Theoretically,
you know what I mean? There's wood here, so I'll knock on it. But theoretically, there is enough draft capital to correct the ills that we're seeing.
And the one benefit to that is every other room has been addressed. So it's not like, it's like, well, we need a secondary help. We could use another DN maybe, but it's like, well, we kind of stopped here, we're stopped there. You got nothing else to spend it on but offensive line.
Yeah, you spend it on the offensive line. You get a defensive end who can who's just disruptive and young, and you get 2 more of those guys. And that's basically what you do. Right? Sorry, there's got to be a center, right? Like I'm saying offensive line, but like specifically a center. That's basically what you do, man. I don't know how we got away from those things this time around.
I'll let y'all graduate this conversation to a level I wasn't going to touch. I just let y'all take off with that shit, and that's where it went. And guess what? We got to talk about an elephant in the room. And to me, he's a very scary elephant. Why? Because nobody, like, all right, I'm gonna give you guys full transparency here. I'm a people watcher, and I watch people, and I study people, and I watch body language. I look at eyes. I look at body movements, gestures, everything. I study that shit. I'm like that show you call Lie to Me. You ever seen that show? It's pretty old, but I've seen that show, and this is the guy that kind of analyzes people and body language, and he gives you an inclination of whether somebody's telling you the truth or not. And I'm telling you something, we have a huge elephant in the room that nobody sees, nobody's talking about, and his name is Kevin Warren. And what I will add to this conversation, I'm just going to jumpstart the conversation with this. Can it get to a point? Can it get to a point where you see, because he's like the kind of he's a Godfather type of motherfucker that's done things in life. And when I say things in life, probably some things we don't want to know about. Motherfucker might have some motherfuckers swimming in a lake some goddamn where. I ain't no telling what this motherfucker done did, but Kevin Warren ain't no joke. And he's a businessman, and he's really swung and missed when it comes to the stadium thing. And we're not going to talk about that. But we're going to talk about his leverage and his leeway if things don't go right in the next 2-3 games. Can you see Kevin Warren being a wedge in this situation to disrupt what he doesn't see happening right? And if Ryan Poles isn't making the right moves with Flus and any of this kind of shit that's going on, do you see him coming in and being the heavyweight that he is?
Hell yeah, because Warren was in charge of the Big Ten. That's politics. There's backroom dealings and below, under the table shit going on, and there's a lot going on. And being that he's the president now, and he was like, well, he's brought in to build the stadium. It's like, yeah, but he's still the president, right. And now he's still the GM's boss, and he has eyes. He sees what we see. He may have a little more insight because he's in the locker room and seeing it every day. But it's like, hey, man, we got this rookie quarterback, but can't seem to protect him. Ryan Poles, what the fuck? And then Poles is going to be like, but Flus and Semo said, yeah, you, Flus and Semo, y'all can take your ass to the unemployment line because I'm going to bring in a professional, organization. That just seems to be the kind of steez that President Warren's on. He's like, yeah, I know people. I know people that will do your job better than you do. But you was here when I got here. Prove to me that you need to stay. And Poles is like, well, but Flus. And Flus is like, well, they need to execute. And it's like, yeah, somebody got to go, if not all of y'all. So I don't see Warren having the patience to be like, well, I'll give him another year or two to see what happens. It's like, yeah, cut bait. He's out of here.
So you think this guy came in, got this job, and he's ready to ruffle feathers? He's had enough.
I'm saying if it came to that.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to tell you is that's not Kevin Warren. I'm trying to tell you very simply, Kevin Warren lucked into a really awesome, cushy job at his age. And basically, he just needs to not build a building for 4 years and ride out this administration. So if I was Kevin Warren, I'd ride this whole thing out, make my money, talk nice at press conferences when required, wear blue suits, generally with an orange tie. And, that's pretty much what I would do.
So you think he's just a figurehead getting his check?
No. Before you answer that, Kedz, let me go where Kedz is heading, but didn't want to say it. He thinks, and there's reason to bring this conversation up. There's a lot of people talking about this. The McCaskies are starting to look like marks out there for people, businessmen, and people who want to get a check. And it seems like, look at history now minus the Lovey era, and minus the 85 era. Man, we've had dudes that came in here and got a check. We got guys that came in here and got a check. And the truth is, the McCaskies may look like to other people like some motherfuckers that you can come in and sell them. And basically they're marks. Like, go in here and you tell them this, you tell them that, you get the job. Not saying don't try, but I'm saying you're going to get some guaranteed money. And at the end of the day, you're going to move on to another organization that really, really is about the winning business. And that's the kind of, if you wasn't a Chicago Bears fan, I had to go to other places and live in other cities to understand how people think about the Chicago Bears. And it ain't flattering, man. They say some foul shit when it comes to us. And it almost caused me to beat some people up. It was that bad. But, maybe Kevin Warren's a gangster. I'm just going to tell you.
I don't, come on, give me a break with the gangster part. So I'm just going to say this. So the organization has never the best. It's the best ever. So the organization has never fired a coach in season. So that's a good sort of look. How long did Ted Phillips work here? The last guy?
Shit, 38 years?
That's why they look like a mark to other people. That's
what I'm trying to. I'm not even trying to say that they are. I'm just trying to say that it's the most cushy job situation you could possibly step into on the planet Earth, and he's not going to ruffle any feathers ever. I'm just saying, gangster or not, there's why ruffle any feathers. If Ryan Poles messes up, he's out of here in 4 years, and that's on Ryan. He'll just have to go find new guys in 4 years. In the meantime, you focus on creating turmoil between a couple of locations under which you might have a stadium until the friction boils over and you get the best deal. And then you play the long game, you break ground, and then you do some long game stuff with the groundbreaking situation too. Like, he could be here for 38 years, bro. Ain't no reason to start throwing weight today.
Dude, let me tell you something. He'll never. Kevin Warren could have gone to Minnesota. Kevin Warren could have gone to Vegas. He could have gone to LA. Could have gone to freaking Kansas City. Anywhere. I'm not talking about literally, but he could have landed anywhere in the continental United States where there's an NFL football team, and never faced the scrutiny that he'll face here soon if things don't start changing. And dude, I'm telling you, man, this shit's different here. You have to. See, the problem
years, scrutiny or no scrutiny.
You don't live here. You don't know what it's like.
Doesn't matter. It's got nothing.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. Ted Phillips. I'm just saying the previous guy in the role stayed in the role for 38 years, regardless as to media hype or chatter or yammer.
That might be the worst thing that ever happened to an organization. That motherfucker sitting in his job for that long. The truth.
I'm not saying it was a good thing for the organization. I'm not championing that. What I am saying is if I'm looking at a job opportunity and the previous guy stayed in the role for 40 years,
you think the McCaskies would ever do that again? Would you think they'd ever allow that to happen again after all that shit?
Well, they wouldn't.
I was just going to say they will definitely be dead before that happens again. There's no.
Hey, Ted Phillips, that motherfucker was embedded in here like he's a goddamn tick, and it took them that long to get rid of that motherfucker. Trust me, it was some shit outside of football comprehension that got that motherfucker out of here. He was a tick, a fully loaded, full of blood tick that was attached to the McCaskies, and it took them a while to get them out of their skin.
It is what it is, man. So whether we,
that's what's happening with SEMO right now. He's done. I think this is a decision that maybe, even though Ryan Poles is a GM and supposedly he has all the autonomy, this is a like one of those McCaskey feeling kind of keeps. It's like, well, we like that Chris Morgan, Virginia likes the way he rubs her feet or some shit. And so we want to retain him. And then Flus and Pose are like, yeah, but we want to retain him. Yes, sir. And so now they got to look at it like, this dude's going to cost us our fucking jobs. And it's like, that just kind of has that feeling. Because I just can't see the way Ryan Poles is in the box, looking at the game, taking notes, and him saying, this offensive line development has been on point. Yeah, I like that. There's no way you can convince me that any reasonably intelligent football general manager, scout, fan is going to be like, yeah, that's a guy we should retain because his position group is aces. And it's like, nah. This is definitely a McCaskey kind of influence, in my opinion.
Just to always double down on what you're saying, also the running back group too.
Well,
right, like it's twofold with the guy you're talking about.
You can't have that conversation. Well, never mind. I'm not even gonna do that again. All right, here comes the bailiff. Here comes the bailiff, and the jury is right behind him. Judge is at his bench. All right, let me preface this conversation with Kevin Warren. Kevin Warren was in here with he was charged with getting a new stadium development plan together and getting us going in that direction and getting that settled so we can start building a new stadium. He's done none of that. We don't know where the hell we're going to be. Chicago Bears are basically homeless, and we're renting a place at the homeless shelter. And that is Soldier Field, and that's what it's like down in that motherfucker. It's rat infested, and it's an old dirty piece of shit. And the truth is, until he came in here with a game plan. He came in with a game plan. This is what we're going to do up here in Arlington. But I'm going to go down here and on the lakefront, and I'm going to shake the shit out of these motherfuckers. And I'm going to get the city of Chicago to raise the price up in Arlington so that these motherfuckers come down on these taxes, and I get exactly what I want. That shit done backfired, cuz. That shit done backfired, ain't it?
No, because Arlington Heights is lowering their taxes and Chicago. I mean, it seems like he's trying to get a bidding war going on.
Yes, and it didn't work out. And it didn't work out because
it's a process. I mean, it's not. There's no expiration date that I'm aware of. I mean, it's an ongoing process.
Man, listen, this dude, I think he underestimated the city of Chicago and the politics that come with it. And we're not gonna get into politics, but he didn't get what he wanted, and now he's he's basically playing a zero-sum game. He's still trying to sell that lakefront shit and knowing it ain't gonna happen, because if you know the logistics of downtown by the lakefront, there's no space to do what needs to be done in order to lift this organization into the next hemisphere and the next level. The only way you do that is in Arlington. And that they have the space to turn that into the megaplex that he has planned for the Chicago stadium to be. And he needs to go ahead and settle on that and go and put that shovel in the dirt and start making that shit happen. However, you got that thing sitting on the side, and you've got the Bears and what they have going on, who he's rightly playing this one to the side and not really getting involved as much as he probably could, and not being the heavyweight that I know he can be. Give Kevin Warren a grade thus far, Super No Maniacs and Trips and Kids. Give him a grade thus far. I'm gonna start you off. I'm gonna give him a B. Why? Because he got slapped down by the city of Chicago. I would give him an A, but he got slapped down by the city of Chicago, and he's reality check set in.
Yeah, I think he's just waiting. He has a number in mind that he wants to spend, and he's just waiting until Arlington Heights comes down to that number. And eventually they will. So it's just who's going to blink first, and they've already started blinking like, well, we'll reduce it this much. Well, we'll reduce. Yeah, that's not enough. And he's going to hold out for that. But his presence on the sidelines during the games, in the locker room after the games, it's not like he's just a bean counter, brought in to do that stuff. He is there. He's looking, he's listening, he's watching. And whether he was brought in to be the, administrator for the new stadium or not, he's still the president. And the general manager is below him. And so he's looking at Ryan Poles like, hey, are we going to protect this rookie quarterback, or what are we doing out there? And Poles is like, well, yeah. I mean, I don't see Warren just letting it go, and it's like, well, I'm only here for that. Let them handle the football side of it. So I give him he hasn't really, he's negotiating, but other than that, so a B, I guess that's fine.
All right, I got a D already from Smitty Q.
All right, Smitty Q, I can dig it. I'm actually going to go with a B here for Kevin Warren, because as far as I'm concerned, I really don't. He adds absolutely zero to football for my personal taste. I care less about the stadium. What I'm going to give him props for is very simple negotiation tactics. He walked into a situation where the guy before him already went and put money down and purchased the land. Right, like they already bought that before Kevin Warren took place. So here he is, now he's got to manage it, and it's like, whoa. They want more money in taxes on this land before I start to develop on it? Okay, well, I can just be cool and go start a bidding war. And that's exactly what he's done. It's exactly what he's done. He's gone and looked at other people, and he said, you know what? You guys make me a better offer. Maybe I'll do something different. And as long as that threat is there, they're going to find the price that works best for them. And the fact of the matter is, in the real estate game, you have nothing but time. Once you develop, the appreciation on the development over time will swallow any little investment you might have put down in the first place. So this money is going to exponentially grow, and it's all going to work out. So it's really just a question of how much money they have to float up front and then cut back by way of taxes. All right. I think Kevin's doing a great job at the business side. As far as what he's actually doing, as far as Bears football is concerned, I could take it or leave it.
I saw a D. I saw a C. And what are you giving them, kids?
I'm giving them a B.
I gave him a B. What'd you give him again, Trip? You gave him a B?
A B.
So we're gonna say B plus plus. We're gonna say B plus. This is say B plus altogether. Why? Because Kevin Warren was green when it came to Chicago, and he came here and fucking found out that, dog, this shit is deep here. You know what I mean? This ain't Minnesota, and you ain't gonna come in here and just put on a nice suit and be smelling good and walk up in a room and just charm motherfuckers into your will, man. They do. Now these motherfuckers will humble you around here. That's just the way the game is here. And I hate to say that, but that's the way it is. All right, here's another thing I want to run by you guys. And this is something we've been pretty critical about, Kedz and Trips. Is the media allowing this team breathing room and this organization breathing room? Or are they being too hyperbolic and not letting this shit play out and giving it time?
Man, it was what was it? One of the damn radio stations was like, oh, we got generational talent, Caleb Williams. And now after seeing what Jayden Daniels did on Monday night, oh, did we take the wrong guy? And it's like, come on, y'all. Stop playing with our emotions like that. So it's like they will hype you up until you're up here, and then typical media fashion, they will tear you down, playing on the emotions of the fan base to get the reactions both ways. Because it's like, well, we need the clicks, we need the listens, we need the views. So how do we start some shit? How do we start up drama? Oh, Justin Fields, he's horrible. We'll get this generational guy who's on day one is going to be better than what Justin Fields is, after year 3. Oh, that's fine. After 3 games, or how do you say it, SpongeBob? 3 games later, oh, this Caleb Williams, we don't know. I mean, did you see Jayden Daniels out there? So that's just what the media does, and they all fucking suck.
Yeah, all of that. You can't. He's a rookie in his 3rd game. I don't care if you use the G word, the special G word, or not. Apparently it's a magical word that turns.
Well, they use it all the time.
I know they do, and they do, and this is what I said before the season. I don't necessarily believe that word. I believe that there's talent that you can develop over time, just like anything else, right? You put a baby on a treadmill, he's probably going to fall on his face.
When I say media, I'm talking about the podcasters too. We're a part of that shit too.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely, and to a certain degree, the media is actually correct, right? In this situation, because we were sold something here by this organization, and it was a rookie quarterback coming into. We were sold a dream, right? Rookie quarterback coming in who's going to sling it and get the job done. We were sold the dream of skilled position players who are going to get the job down and help take the weight off of this rookie quarterback. And we were sold the dream of a fantastic defense that'll again hold things down in a worst case scenario. And that's not exactly how this is playing out. So, if folks are worried about Caleb, I think that's very short-sighted, and I think very foolish. I think you have to look long game at Caleb. It's just what it is. You have to look long game, because unfortunately, I don't believe this Bears team is ready to have a generational talent at quarterback.
Well, for the podcaster side of it, for the ones that are under 40 who've never seen, their team win a Super Bowl, they're smoking a lot of the hopium. And it's like, oh, well, we're there. And it's like, for the older crowd who's like seen, a lot of the same bullshit over the decades of, being a fan of this team. And it's like, yeah, we've seen this shit before. Y'all settle down, youngins. And it's like, no, you just don't understand. This is a new generation. It's like, yeah, okay. And so after their heart gets broken a few more times, they'll be a little more pessimistic, I think. But the optimism, was from the media, was from Poles himself, was from the team. I mean, Williams was like, oh, Taylor, we won't even need you, dog, because we won't even be punting. Oh, shit.
Like, I don't, for all those reasons, I don't blame. I can't sit here and blame the media for reacting the way that they have. Like you have to look at it. Hard Knocks, unfortunately, in this post facto, might have been a little bit much. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, man. I don't think that I don't think they're being too harsh, but they do need to pump the brakes on the whole idea that we get the wrong guy, because there is no such thing as that at this point. There is no, you can't, that question isn't even worth, it's not worth asking. Well, Caleb is the guy, and the question is, how the F are they going to develop him into the guy?
The guy.
Well, here's let me put this out here for the Super No Maniacs and everybody watching this show. If you noticed, you guys, that the hypercriticism, I chose to raise these questions and these conversations in a more private setting, other than what we normally do on Nomad Live and Nomad at Night and the other shows that we do. I think it's important to do that. Why is because after a year and some change of being a podcaster and being a part of that space, I've learned to have a certain sense of responsibility for the words that I choose, and knowing that my words have weight and people listen to it because of this platform that we have, and people do pay attention to it no matter what people say to you. Oh, they don't got so many views. And I'm going to tell you a secret. They got this thing called Tube Boost that boosts people's views. Soon as you go out there with the number of views that we have during a regular show, and you don't see the numbers that you want, you can pay Tube Boost to give you goddamn views and likes. That's how it works. So I'm just telling you, you think that because you don't see the certain amount of views and a certain amount of subscriptions and all that kind of stuff on this channel, and that's just because we choose to stay organic. And I'm not buying that shit. Whatever growth we get and whatever membership and subscriptions and all the support that we get as a community, we will earn every inch of it. We're not paying for it. But you see every other podcast doing that, and they will try to point at this channel and say, oh, look how many views they got. Look how many. Dude, trust me when I tell you, once you're a podcaster and you're out here in this universe, there's a game going on. And now, that we're going to park that conversation right there so you guys can be aware of what's really going on, and say this. The weight of your words when you're a podcaster and people listen to you and you have a network that people pay attention to. I've learned that over the years that I've made some mistakes and probably been a little bit too hyperbolic, probably been a little bit too encouraging when we shouldn't have been. We should have been a little bit more critical. I'm learning to take it for what it is. And what it is a situation that we find ourselves in that kind of looks familiar. But at the same time, there's only out of a 600 page, let's say a 300 page book, we've been probably in page 15.
Yeah.
And so I don't think we need to be hypercritical about these guys, but since we were going into that phase and to allow that conversation to happen, I chose to do this in and I believe the guys here would agree with it. It's best done in a private setting and not done doing a regular show, because you add to that, you just add kindle to that fucking fire, then it's not worth it, man, because this team needs room to grow. And you're not helping it grow if you're constantly badgering these motherfuckers and not letting them do what they need to do. You're gonna run out of here that we need.
Well, I think the podcaster world is just like any other thing. The very optimistic ones, they're gonna be the listeners and followers that gravitate to them. You know, the pessimistic ones are going to be the pessimistic ones that gravitate to them. And then there isn't going to be any kind of middle ground. It's just going to be, well, you all are wrong, so shut the fuck up. No, you all are wrong and should shut the fuck up. Whereas I'm more of a like, look, this is what it is. I mean, this is what we want it to be, but it ain't that. And so you have that audience of, hey, I understand that we all want to win, but this ain't getting it done, and this is why. I was like, no, you don't. It was like, oh, shut the fuck up. And so you're gonna get that flavor for whatever you're looking for out there in the podcast world. It's just some of them are just so deep into it that it's like, hey, you can't be critical of anybody for anything at all. And if you are, then you're hating. And so it's like, you just do you. It's like the Nomadiacs. This is a private, Nomadiac, stream here. That there are no maniacs who keep it real both ways. I give them A here, I give them F there, and there's no, beef saying, well, you're wrong. Oh no, you're wrong. Or I know more about football. If you knew ball, you would say this. And then you got the wannabe coaches, and it's like, well, they need to do this, this, and this. And everybody's gonna have an opinion, just like assholes. And it's just which opinion or which asshole do you like best?
You see what Mo just had to say? I'm going to read this out loud. One of our members. Hey, thank you for this one, Mo. This is why I'm glad I'm a member here. We can disagree with each other, but we're all cool with each other. At the same time, man, I love this community so much. I feel like a big, huge ass lion protecting his pride, man, because this didn't come from nothing. This came from something. And all three of these guys that you hear on this show right now played a huge part in it. And everybody that's come here and given their takes on whatever's going on, all of that shit's important. And y'all think, I don't want anybody to ever think you come here and what you have to say, whether you agree with something going on here or you don't think it doesn't have any validity here. It means something to me. And I know I can speak for everybody when I say that. You can come here and speak your mind, and ain't nobody gonna sit here and tear you up about it. You come in here and be foul about it. The super nomaniacs and the nomaniacs will deal with you. If they don't, I will. All the moderators with the wrenches will. So it's one of those things. You can come here and try to be foul if you want to. This thing is developed the right way, and the community will take care of your shit. But they know it's love. It's built from love. We all love the same thing, and we all respect each other the same way. And so that's why we can come here and be totally fucking open and be critical in a private setting and not bring that to the public and be all right with it. Because when we get back out to the public, we're going to root this team on, and I'm going to point out some good things that can help the Bears win this game against the Rams. But in this setting, we can be super nomaniacs and we can talk shit and be real, man. That's what.
Well, don't forget that. I think it was like the first game of the season. The first half, the fans at Soldier Field were booing, and then there were fans mad at them for booing. And it's like, did you see that shit on the field? Yeah, I boo that too. You're not going to cheer for losers, and especially the people who are at Soldier Field who made that monetary investment to go down there. It's like, this is how I'm spending my money on this bullshit. Boo! I feel that.
It gets real, man. The podcasting thing on this side of it is different than just being a fan, because it's basically enhances your level a little bit, and then it enhances your responsibility to what everybody is either happy about or upset about. Sometimes somebody like me feels the need to try to draw that line for the in between and let everybody be okay with their opinion and not telling people how to fucking fan. You know what I mean? I will not do that. You be the kind of fan you fucking want to be. And I'll be all right with it. You know what I mean? Be how you want to be. Nobody's going to fault you. If you're a Justin Fields fan and you thought that was wrong, man, tell somebody to tug on your nuts. If you really feel like that, no problem with that. But Justin Fields ain't here. If you still want to remain a Justin Fields fan, tell them to tug on your nuts if they don't like it.
Right. It's like, well, who the hell are you to tell somebody how to fan?
Right.
It's like, you fan the way you fan, I'll fan the way I fan, and you shut the fuck up.
Yeah, so that's just where we are, man. that's a good place to wrap this Bears conversation up and get into a couple quick things that I wanted to mention. All right, so anybody here living in Florida, this is the most important thing we can be talking about tonight, because the last time I looked up, my girlfriend texted me probably about an hour and a half ago and told me, because the last time we looked, it was that storm was looking like a Category 3 hurricane. I think they boosted it up to a 4, and it's looked like it's going to angle right towards the middle of Florida. And so I just want to say, you know, I ain't gonna sit here and be like, hey, prayers and all that kind of shit. No, straight up. I hope people there are paying attention to this and really taking this to heart and taking advantage of the opportunity to get out of there early, and taking precaution, finding a safe space. Whether or not you can get out of Florida right now is anybody's guess. But taking a safe space, the safest space you can find, and hunkering down somewhere if you got to. But if you can get out of there in some kind of way, you probably should. But man, Luke, dude, I don't know if this how good or bad this is going to be, but I really gotta I got some opinions about this, and people who live in Florida. Naj is one of them. He's a Florida resident, and we got several Florida residents that are no maniacs and super no maniacs. But I do question the longevity of residents there with the patterns of weather and the changes of weather. I don't know how smart that is with insurance. Go ahead, Trips.
Man, I get what you're saying. You know, Mother Nature can be a real bitch, because Florida, you got the hurricanes, and the Southwest is, you know, 125 degrees for like every day for a month. And then in the, you know, northern area, we got the polar vortexes, you know, swooping in, and there's, you know, tornadoes in the midsection of the country. So, I mean, wherever you go, Mother Nature is going to reach out and touch your ass. And it's like, you know, I hope they're all okay. But as far as like worried about it, it's like, I don't live there. Yeah. You know, because when it's blizzarding here or below zero, you know, the people in Florida are really concerned about us. No, I mean, it's just what it is.
Well, Fugra's in Orlando, and he says he's straight. He went to the grocery store. He's stocked up. He's good to go. Be safe out there, Mo Fugra, man.
And then in Seattle, it's always raining. Oh Lord, you know. And then Seattle, isn't that where?
Smitty Q, are you out there too?
Yeah, well, you at, Smitty? I don't know where you
at, volcanoes. You know, that's Washington State. You know, and then the California with the earthquakes and sliding off into the ocean and shit. It's like wherever you live, it's gonna be something. But that whole global warming, climate change thing, yeah, Florida's gonna be more swamp than human compatible in a few years.
It's why I bring this up, and I'm talking about the hurricane because I want people to be safe. Number one. Number two is I'm not kidding. When I look at the stories and look at some of the situations coming out of Florida, it's when you talk about it from a business point of view, when you're talking about you know, residents and commercial real estate that you know is sitting there, they're not building some of the stuff that they had planned to build, and you got $1 billion investments down there that are not following through with the plan because the weather patterns aren't, you know, you can't tame that, and you can't just get what you want out of this situation. And guess what? When you go and do those things, unless you have the kind of money to insure your own fucking property, then it's probably not the best thing in the world to be staying there. When you see businesses going out of there and insurance prices going that high, and people are running around and not really knowing what to do, guess what? If you don't have a whole bunch of money, Florida is going to become basically a billionaire's haven that can insure their own damages.
Well, isn't Florida? Aren't they the ones that regular residential owners, housing owners can't get insurance because the insurance companies stopped insuring them because of the weather patterns? Isn't that Florida?
That's pretty much it. That's what I keep hearing, man. I know people down there that had to, like some snowbirds down there, man. I know some people from New York. I know some motherfuckers from around here that's gone down there Philly that's gone down there and bought residence, and now they're trying to hawk that shit and they can't get rid of it. I'm talking about in the like one person I know in particular on the west coast of Florida, down in the Fort Myers area. Dog, that's it's bad. Like we talking about regular people. We ain't talking about rich ass people. We talking about people that I know whose parents have retired and have spent their fortune to go move down to Florida and live like they thought they wanted to live, and it's just not doable.
Sunbirds.
Yeah, and it's not doable, and they got to try their best to get rid of it because the insurance prices are too high, HOA prices are too high, and all that kind of stuff. It's bad, and I just feel for anybody that's living down there, man. And that's just where my energy is. I just feel for people down there, and sometimes, life ain't what you expected, man. When you get lemons, you make lemonade, man. Sometimes if you ain't got that kind of money, you might need to be looking at going somewhere else, man. Be honest with
you. In Florida, they got plenty of lemons, but no sugar.
But all right, let me see. Let me look at my notes here. Let me get one more thing in before we get ready to wrap this thing up. All right, this is an off the radar question, and I was thinking about this because I was talking to my mom before we did this show, a few hours before we did the show, and she mentioned something to me, and I remember her asking me, like I was probably about 12, 13, and she was seeing me being heavily involved in football, and she thought, like, this dude is passionate about that. But what else are you involved in? She wanted to introduce me into instruments, and she wanted me to have other extracurricular activities other than football, basketball, track, and the normal shit that kids do, especially kids in my environment. Either hey, what did Biggie say, Trips? Either you slang, crack, rock, or you got a wicked what?
Jump shot.
That's kind of what it was. So you hone your skills in those departments in sports to get out the hood. And so she wanted to open my environment and my mind up to, what it's like to be a musician. And she asked me, she's like, son, I want you to have the ability to play any instrument you want. Tell me what instrument you want to play or you're interested in playing, and I'll get it for you. And I said, and I thought for a second. And I said, drums. And she said, oh, hell no. No.
Yeah, no. Next.
Walked out the room, window room, closed the door on me, man. It was fucking hilarious. And we laughed about that. So what extracurricular activities did your parents open up to you outside of sports?
I took piano lessons as a shorty, and at the time it was a chore, but now it's like, man, I should have kept up with them shits. And then I gigged a lot at clubs and live music places, so it's like I get the bass, and I'm not really a horn kind of guy, but I would say piano and theater. Going to the theater and seeing productions. Remember the Schubert Theater? I saw Little Orphan Annie. It's a hard not life.
I remember Schubert.
And then I saw like The Wiz. So culturally, the piano, I guess, instrument-wise, was the only thing.
So for me, it would be the guitar, the saxophone, and singing. Those would be the three.
So are you thankful for those? Because at certain points here, y'all can tell me what age it was when you can remember those conversations and your parents opened up that avenue for you. But did it, like for me, I can think about that conversation. We laugh about it now, but I think about myself as I produce beats. I'm a producer. I ain't gonna let nobody get me off of that mark. I can make music, and you guys will find that out sooner rather than later. But I can make music, and I'm really good at making beats, writing songs, and things like that. I'm a creative person. had she not opened that door, I think my mother used to listen to the stuff that I used to listen to and see how whenever I came home from school and practice, I'd be spent. And I go into my room, and the first thing I do is get off my clothes and get ready to go take a shower. And I'll be in there jamming something. And I had a record player. I had a couple of uncles that were DJs. And so I had a record player, I had another record player. I used to wire that shit together and make it work. And I should be in there making tapes and doing all that kind of stuff. So she knew I had a knack for music because my uncles. And I grew up in the house with them probably a year and a half prior to her taking me in, and at about 12 years old. That's when she started to really raise me. But I lived with my grandmother, who I had several uncles, that were older than me, who I consider my brothers. They were DJs and heavy into the music. Every new record that came out, they had it. And so I got to listen to it. So my exposure to music, she understood and wanted to make sure that I had a lane to go in. But as soon as I said a drum set, she slammed the door in my face. I just and that's what happened.
That's the drum. That's not just you playing it. That's you playing it for the whole building and neighborhood.
Hey,
because because now they got those like the electric drum pads that you put on headphones that you can play the drums and not disturb anybody else. They didn't have that back then. She wasn't
having that shit. Hey, so Mo Fugger said his parents took him and his brother camping and fishing a lot, and they still love doing it to this day. Ain't it funny how, the things that your parents expose you to as a child, you find yourself even as a full-grown adult, and the passions are still there. Ain't that funny?
I think that's like people who are target shooters and marksmen. And it's like, I love guns because, my dad took me. Or I love fishing and camping because, an older relative that I loved and respect took me. And I think a lot of it is the activity is secondary to who exposed you to it. And if somebody you love, used to do this with you, now doing that activity reminds you of that person. So I think a lot of it has to do with just that person and not the activity per se. Because if like you had an uncle that was into music, you're into music. But if you had an uncle that was into like painting or like color or drawing or art, you would probably be into that. So it's just who influenced you, and your feelings toward them makes that activity a reminder of that person.
It's funny. Go ahead, kid.
No, I'm not. That was a very poignant thing to say, Triple R. Very poignant.
I feel a little bit different, man. I think you learn. I think what I've learned over the years is what the joy people found in those activities. You know what I mean? Like at first, like fishing. You're talking about Mo Fugra. I was exposed to that very, very early, man. And there's a lot of people in my family that love to fish, and it was just like I was a physical kid. I was very, very physical, very, very active, and would really love to run and play and bump, grind, and do all that physical kids shit that they do. And then, I had parts of my family that wanted to take me fishing. That's a calm down, sit your ass down, be quiet, you're gonna run the fish away type of thing. You know what I mean? And I had a hard time doing that. Just like, oh, this shit's boring to me. Until the first fish got on my line. I remember that shit. I had a fucking cane pole, and my great grandmother made me use that fucking cane pole. Everybody else had fishing poles, nice,
rods and reels,
nice shit. And she gonna give me this fucking this cane pole with a goddamn string on it. And I was pissed off. I was pissed, kid. You hear me? And next thing you know, a fish got on that thing, and I just snatched that thing out of the water, and that thing was flipping and flopping around on the banks, on the rocks. And my great grandmother was probably about 10 feet away from me. She looked over at it, and she was just like, throw it back in. I said, no, hell no. I'm keeping it. She's like, no, you ain't. You putting it back in the water. It's just a baby.
That little motherfucker.
She's like, you putting it right back in the water. And I was mad. I was going off. She said, no, that's the first time I ever seen my great grandmother, who was the sweetest thing ever, get physically upset with me. She said, no, you're not. You putting it back in the water. It's just a baby. I don't care if it's your first fish. It's just a baby. Put it back in the water. And she put it back in the water, and I was upset the whole ride home. And to her passing, she never forgot that, because I'm sitting here with a goddamn cane pole. If you don't know what I'm talking about with a cane pole, then you ain't seen fishing yet. You need
long ass stick.
It's basically what it is. But hey, man, good shit here tonight, man. I had a good time talking with you fellas, man. I think this was a great show, and we're building this Super Nomaniac Lounge into what we want it to be, because you never know what you're gonna come in here and get. You're gonna get some bears, but you don't know what else you're gonna get. And you know what? I had something that I wanted to show you guys, but I can read body language. I can tell we've been here a little bit too long, and it's time to get out of here. And I'm going to pay attention to the tea leaves and get ready to wrap this up. I'm going to pass it on to Canuck for some pleasantries before we go.
All right, y'all. It's been another episode of Some Special Sauce, some extra sauce, mad sauce. And super happy to spend this time with these two gentlemen, as well as all of you out there. Big ups to my guy Nomad, King of Pop. Big ups to my guy Triple R underneath me. Mad love to our folks out there representing in the chat. All those out there who are watching on Twitter or on IG, big shout outs to you too. Same thing to the Twitch mob out there. But more specifically, giving love to those who give us love. Shout outs to you, Mo Fugra. Big ups to you, Smitty Q. What it do, Crimson? Always good to have you with us. Good to see you out there, Plankster. Who else was rolling with us tonight? Dan Brown was holding it down. Terry Anderson, glad to have you. Welcome to the family, Terry. Who else joined up today? Well, good to see King Booker World as always. Awesome to have you represent with us. Who am I missing? Who else joined up today? Nomad? Somebody else. Jose Goncalves, my guy.
Jose. I think it's another guy that joined up too, man. We have to look at that.
So Terry Anderson, Jose Goncalves, Jason was with us for a little bit. I think Jason just watching and sent us a little bit of love. Joseph Archer was in there with us today for a little bit. Always awesome. Aunt Moss dropped in for a minute or two. I think that should round it all out just a bit. In any event, good to have you guys. Always good rocking it with my guys. Triple R, what do you got to say, brother?
Quit pissing people off and start cook something one of these days and make the Nomaniacs happy.
Oh, look at that. Now I'm hungry.
Don't eat, man. Cook something.
This is a piece of pineapple Canadian bacon. I see you, Canada. Green pepper and onion pizza that Chef Trips made on his last video on Sports Chicago Style. And I tried it, and it's delicious. And this is like straight out of the fridge, cold pizza, hot pizza. Pizza's pizza. It's delicious. So yeah, Crimson, you wish. I know you do.
Did you say pineapple and Canadian bacon?
I did.
Damn, dog. Wow.
I'm sensing some disappointment. I'm hurt.
Not from the Canadian you are. not from the Jamaican Canadian you are.
Right.
He's got me both ways, dog. You got a little bit, you know what I'm saying? You got a little bit from the Caribbean with the pineapple, a little bit of that Canadian bacon straight from home. Right. So I'm all about both of them.
Yeah, the only thing missing is the maple syrup. Shit.
That's it. Yo, like next time you do the Canadian maple bacon. You got to find that. It exists. It's dope.
Watch out. All right, but thanks for joining and having, big up to Nomad and Kedz and everybody in the chat. And, make sure you go by the channel at the, what's the day? Wednesday? I keep forgetting the days. Wednesday. But yeah, Monday is like Trip. He does his exercise stuff, his exercise vlog. So all you fat asses out there need to move your ass, join up with him. And then Tuesday, Chef Trips drops a new video recipe. Then Coach Trippin's doing the self-defense thing that they're in production with. And then on Fridays, we have our pregame. And then Sunday is our postgame. And then we're going to be bringing in you know, the Bulls and the Blackhawks and wrap ups for the White Sox and the, you know, sports, Chicago style. That's the name of the channel. That's the name of the website. And that's the name of it on all the social media platforms. Hook it up.
Amen to that, man. Y'all better make sure y'all fucking with my guy Trips over there, because he is building his brand, and brand building is where we are in this YouTube space and in the social media space. It's about building something that people can hang on to, and something, you know, and don't nothing start off 100 miles an hour. You know, you just take it for what it's worth and you grow it and you be consistent. And I can see Tripp's got that work ethic over there, man. And he's doing what he's got to do to make sure he gets noticed. And I'm telling you, at the end of the day, I'm telling you, he's going to get where he needs to go. And I promise you that. You know, it's just about hacking trees, man. You got to hack the wood and go through the forest, man. And if you're going to take your own path like he's doing, that means you got to go ahead and put the axe to the wood and make shit work for yourself, man. And I think that's what he's doing. And I got nothing but respect for it, because, you know, here I am starting off with the super talents of Chris Washington. You know, Chris passes, and his soul and spirit, RIP to Chris. We end up with
his birthday, by the way.
Yeah.
So what's the birthday?
Yesterday was his birthday, yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, I missed it, man.
Yep.
Rest in peace, Chris. Happy birthday, dog.
RIP to Chris, man. And then here comes J2K with his talents. And, you know, next thing you know, you're out here and you need to keep treading, and you need to keep chopping wood, and you need to keep it going. It's going to force you to do things that you're not comfortable with doing. And at the end of the day, you got to do it. Because guess what? Ain't nobody going to feel sorry for you. Ain't nobody going to do your shit for you. You got to do it yourself. At the end of the day, you know what I mean? And so what I wanted to say in closing is how much I appreciate everybody. And I know you probably get tired of hearing me saying it, but I can guarantee you, every time I say it, I mean it. You know, how many people come here and how many people support us, and the vigor and the, you know, people, I can feel energy. And that's really what I am, is an energy radar. And I'm attracted to good energy. And I can feel good energy when it comes in here. I can feel bad energy when it comes in here. But the energy you guys give us, it makes me get up and work my ass off every day to figure out the next way to go. You know, because you're out here in the forest, when you tread in your own path, you can go left, right, you can go backwards, you can go forward. But you guys really encourage me to keep hacking wood and keep chopping. And at the end of it, I know what's going to happen when we come out on the end of this, man. It's going to be some super great shit that comes out of what we do, because we got creativity, we got voices over here, and we got personality. And I just love you guys for being here, man. I don't get enough of it, man. So what to look forward to moving forward. You're going to see a lot more of me doing Nomad Live by myself if I can't get kids and, you know, other people to do the shows. They got shit going on. So sometimes I feel guilty about not having content out there. So I will go out there on my own and put out content. So be ready for some Nomad Lives off schedule. So hit your notification bell and be ready for that kind of thing. And of course, we'll keep doing this at the Super No Maniac Lounge and growing it. You can see growth right here tonight, and you can feel it growing right here while we were doing this show tonight, and it was great. So thank you to everybody who became a new member. We love you guys, and welcome to the community. Thank you to the regulars that are here every week, every day. Plank, Naj, Cornelius, who I didn't see today, King Booker World, Aunt Moss, it's Crimson. There's so many names, and if I forgot your name, I apologize. So I just want to say thank you one more time. And before we get out of here, I want to leave you with these famous words. If you can think it and you can see it, you can manifest it. It's just about whether you believe in it or not. Do you trust it or not? With that being said, we are out.